is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabroods. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabroods, locally owned for more than 30 years. Gubroods.
Call the good dudes at Gabroods. Gubroods. Gabroods.com.
All right, Kings fans, quick timeout with your guy Rhino from the Grant Napear Show. Like me, if you're already watching every Rhino screen every month 3, you might as well make it more interesting with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports site in America, and it's simple. You pick 2 to 6 players and choose whether they'll go more or less on their stat line. That's it. No salary caps, no revolving lineups. Tonight, maybe it's DeMar DeRozan. Points, more. Maybe it's Dylan Cardwell. Rebounds, also more. Maybe you fade somebody on the other side, like me. Pro football, hoops, elite college action. The action never stops with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code Rhino50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Rhino, RYNO 50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Tell your friends.
Grant's back!
Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Hello!
Hello, Sacramento.
Sacktown!
And welcome in.
Grant Napear.
How you been?
You know this guy.
It's your show.
So happy to hear you on the airwaves.
2+ decades on the radio with you.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Now he's back on Fox Sports 104.7 FM and 890 AM.
3 to 6 every day, Fox Sports Sacramento.
The phone number?
916-779-0929.
His name? Grant Napear.
Hey, everybody. Hope you had a fabulous weekend. Major League Baseball begins this week. Like we don't have enough things going on. The end of the NBA regular season, the NCAA men and women's tournaments. Yankees, Giants, Wednesday night to kick off the season. Your phone calls always welcome here at 916-779-0929. How are the brackets looking? You doing okay? Everybody, like, still alive? Well, I'll tell you, some of the buzzer beaters over the weekend, you talk about games coming down to one possession, how important these final possessions are. Some teams really lacking awareness on the court. But then there's the individual ability. You got to still make the shots, right? Pretty amazing stuff. So we'll talk about the NCAA tournament. We'll talk about the Kings with 10 games left. They open up a road trip tomorrow. You know, right now, the Kings have the fourth worst record in the NBA. And you think about this road trip and being realistic, the only real winnable game, in my opinion, would be the game coming up on Sunday in Brooklyn, a team they just beat yesterday, who obviously is probably in a worse predicament than the Kings. I mean, if you really want to boil down to it. But the Indiana Pacers, the Washington Wizards, the Brooklyn Nets, and then the Kings with the worst record in the West. You know, when you look at the standings, first and foremost, thank goodness, there are only 10 games left to this miserable season. 19-53 are the Sacramento Kings. Indiana's the worst team at 15-56. And then you look at Washington at 16-55 and Brooklyn at 17-54. And again, we keep talking about the schedule, right? I don't even know if the schedule matters anymore other than when you're playing a team like Brooklyn. Because, you know, when I'm looking at Sacramento and I'm thinking to myself, all right, realistically, how many wins are left? And I'm talking about, like, are we supposed to, like, get excited? And excited's not even the right word, because I know a lot of fans were hoping that the Kings would lose yesterday. I don't take anything out of a game like yesterday. Nothing. I mean, I just don't. I don't take anything out of beating Utah with their roster. Like, what does that mean? I mean, seriously. Charlotte, followed by Orlando, Atlanta, Brooklyn. So on that 4 games, the only team you could probably beat is Brooklyn. At Toronto, you're probably going to lose that game. So you should have 4 losses on this road trip. Then you come home and take on New Orleans, the Clippers, 2 games at Golden State, home Golden State, and then at Portland. Now, I don't really know what you're going to get with the Warriors. So it's tough to say, and I know they beat the Clippers last week in L.A. But, I mean, other than Brooklyn, where's there a win on this schedule? I don't see it. The question is, what about Indiana? Are they going to win any games? What about Washington? What about Brooklyn? So, I mean, you've come this far. It's been this bad. Why ruin things now? So, this is the Kings, and it just seems like nothing ever goes right, which means you'll probably get screwed in the lottery, because that's just being a Sacramento Kings fan, and that's what you have to put up with, right? I mean, isn't that the way you look at it? I don't have a problem with the players playing the way they are when they're on the floor if they're competing. I don't have a problem with that at all. That's their job. That's what they get paid for. But, you know, you can't lose to, well, let me back up, all right? If you look at the Kings' last 5 wins, they beat Chicago, they beat the Indiana Pacers, they beat the Clippers, they beat Utah, and they beat Brooklyn. Other than the Clippers game, there's not a win on there that I look at and go, oh, boy, the Kings are building something. Oh, you know, gee, it must feel good to win games. And it's a bunch of nonsense. You're playing teams, for all intents and purposes, that are worse than you currently or in as bad a shape as you. So, like, I'm not blowing that out of proportion. Your win before that was Dallas. The game before that was Memphis that you won. The game that you won before that was Washington, all the way back on January 17th. I mean, come on now. Really? And the reason why I'm talking about this, I watch all of the players and the coaches speak to the media after the game, and I get the fact it's their job, and I understand all of that. But I'm so tired of the same tiring stuff from Doug Christie every single game. And again, I understand his job. I really do. And I think he's been really good with the media, and I give him a lot of props for that. I've just, and this goes back to training camp, and I was very open about it. I thought that a lot of the talk coming out of training camp was nonsense. I thought it was window dressing. I thought it was garbage. I just did. I thought it was garbage. I thought it was, oh my God. It sounded more high schoolish, more of like an amateur hour than it did in NBA camp. But I said so. I said so. I was very open about that. And I'm not one to, I guess what I'm saying is actions speak louder than words, especially in sports. When I listen to players and I listen to coaches, I'm like, okay, what they say, does it translate into what I'm watching? And if it does, I'm on board with it. And if it doesn't, then I'm like, okay, maybe it was a bad game. But then if it's the following week and I'm hearing the same stuff, but I'm not seeing what I'm hearing, I'm like, maybe it's not just one game. Maybe it's a trend. Then a month later, I'm hearing the same things, and I'm watching completely different. I mean, you know what's sad about this year, besides the fact that it's been an injury, a year that's been decimated by injuries? You know what's really hard for me to digest with 10 games left? There's no offensive identity to this team. What's their defensive identity? Oh, we're going to pick up 94 feet. Oh, we're not going to pick up 94 feet. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we're not going to do that. Oh, well, you know what? We need to make them feel us. They didn't feel us. We need to make them feel. They didn't feel us. We need to make them feel. Well, they didn't feel us. I mean, seriously, what is the identity of this team? Well, we really got to we got to go out and we got to close out the three. We've got to guard the three. Okay. I mean, it's just the same thing over and over and over again. So I ask myself, if you were to answer my question right now, what's the identity of the Sacramento Kings? How would you answer that question? You would say, well, their identity is they're dysfunctional. Their identity is they're inconsistent. They don't have an offensive identity. They don't have a defensive identity. Their identity is they lose a lot. Their identity is they're inconsistent. Like, what's their identity? That's where we're at with 10 games left. All right, baseball starts this week. All right? Baseball. So, what do you think about the A's with that young, exciting lineup? Okay? Led by Nick Kurtz. And, of course, Jacob Wilson. They're going to put some runs on the board. I just don't know how they're going to stop teams from scoring. Unless you get the Luis Severino that I watched pitch in the World Baseball Classic, I don't see it. I mean, you had Miller last year. He's now in San Diego. You have a pitching staff that's just not very good. I like the lineup, and I like the lineup a lot. I mean, their lineup is wow. I could see them putting some runs on the board and really exciting the fans here in Sacramento at the home games. I like their lineup. Their lineup is not bad at all. It's better than not bad. It's pretty good. I just don't know how they're going to stop people. They're going to be some high-scoring games in Sacramento this year. So we'll talk about it because Listen, opening day is this week. What is your interest level in baseball? Hit me up at 916-779-0929. Both if you want to call the show or on the text line, because I really want to I want to gauge your interest level as it relates to this show and talking about baseball. Now, I feel it's my responsibility, being a sports talk show host in Sacramento with the A's playing in West Sacramento, to talk about it on a fairly regular basis, and I'm planning on doing so. But how much do you want? How much do you want? All right? So I like the fact that I think when you go to watch the A's this year, you're going to watch an exciting team. If they could get just decent pitching, they might surprise some people this year. Again, if they could get some decent pitching. And right now, I'm not sure I see that. 916-779-0929. And again, they're really starting with a bang this year with the Giants and the Yankees from San Francisco. So we'll get into that as well. That starts on Wednesday. This message, I'm with you, Grant, on the A's. Not only high scoring, there could be a lot of extra inning games also because of that. There could be. There could be. I mean, I think we all, for the most part, like to see the ball put into play and you like runs scored. I think that is certainly going to be the case when you go to an A's game this year. All right, a lot of messages coming in on the studio text line at 916-779-0929. Grant, what's your thought on Vivek blaming injuries for the team's poor performance this season? Well, anyone that talks about the injuries and the effect that it's had on the team, there is a lot of truth to that. Their injuries have had a significant impact. There's no question about that. But there's also a lot of other problems with this team, despite the injuries, that cannot be ignored. Grant, you forgot the core values. Oh, yes, I did forget the 6 core values. Shame on me. What is wrong with me forgetting such an important thing, such as the core values? What's happened to me? Already forgetting about the core values with 72 games in the books. How dare I forget the core values? All right. From the 916, Grant, please just tell it like you see it. When have I not told it like I see it? Like I've been doing that for decades. Okay. Decades. It's all I do. Right. I've told you pretty much, not pretty much, very much, exactly how the NBA season was going to go this year without being able to forecast injuries. But I was giving you cautions back in October before the season began. And I didn't think it would be this bad. I got to be honest with you. I didn't think it would be this bad, but I did think it was going to be a disaster of a season. But I did not think it was going to be this bad. And the big question, as we have 10 games left, is will Doug Christie be retained as the head coach? Because I would think that's a decision that has to be made immediately upon the conclusion of this season. And then the second part of that question is, if he's not, which I don't believe he will, then who will be the next head coach of the Sacramento Kings? That will be our first order of business once the season ends and after the exit interviews and everything else. Because you can hang, you can't really hang your hat on a lot of things this year. You can hang your hat on Max Reynaud being a dynamite pick. That's what you can hang your hat on, okay? You don't know if Precious Achua is going to be back next year. Dylan Cardwell looks like he has promise. You can hang your hat on that. You can't really hang your hat on anything else. There's nothing else you can hang your hat on with this team. Just not. I'm sorry. That's where we're at. So I hope you don't own a lot of hats, because you don't have a lot of hooks to hang your hats on, all right? You don't. So if you're a hat person, good luck, because when it comes to the Kings, you don't have a space for all of your hats. So Good luck with that. You might have to put them on the floor because you're not going to be able to hang your hat on many things with the Sacramento Kings. But I don't see how, with the state of this team and the high draft pick that's going to be coming in, regardless of whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, and with the other things that have to be done, and with you needing to get into the right direction immediately, I don't see how this present coaching staff can come back. I'm sorry, I just don't see it. So that's where, and I've been very consistent about this going all the way back to last year. Nothing has changed on that. And it is very apparent to me. Very apparent. 916-779-0929. So we've set the table. How are your brackets? Hit me up. How we looking? We got all of that, plus your phone calls with Mike to start us off in Galt. Hello, Mike. How are you today?
Grant, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm well, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, well, favorite time of year, March Madness. I was hoping that BYU would advance. That way we get a longer shot at watching Devonta and the guy from Kansas, Peterson.
Peterson,
with those
yep.
two guys out. Yeah, with those two guys out, if Boozer and the Duke Blue Devils keep advancing, do you think this helps Boozer's draft stock? Also, with the other two guys out, the Kansas player and BYU, other players as far as A-Cup from Arkansas, if they keep advancing, do you think that's going to help their draft stock as far as the draft goes?
It doesn't hurt their draft stock, but I think you're putting too much on these games as far as the NBA draft goes. Devonta probably is going to be the number 1 overall pick, even if BYU had advanced or not. I think most people feel that he's number 1 on the board. He also played very, very well on their loss, right? The questions surrounding Darren Peterson are still there. Nothing changed after 2 games in the NCAA tournament. And as far as Boozer, I mean, almost every single team in the NBA, I believe, has him on their top 3 on their board. I think he's on the top 3 in every board in the NBA. So I don't really know how much better he can do. So I think maybe you, and again, maybe not. I think it's more of the players that we are down the grade a little bit, like down in the middle of the first round or the end of the first round or a second round. I think those are the players who move more during an NCAA tournament than the stars. The stars are the stars. You've already seen their body of work enough. I don't think 1 or 2 games is really going to change their draft stock that much. I really don't.
Okay, with Arkansas, the guard, A-Cup, do you think he could be maybe like a diamond in the rough because obviously
Yes.
Devonta is getting all the attention?
The problem with A-Cup is like a lot of young players. He doesn't appear to be able to guard his shadow. And so, you're going to be bringing in another point guard who can't guard anybody. But that's not that unusual for a teenager playing in college. But he definitely defensively has got a ways to go.
Yeah, with the draft and the lottery and all that, last year you had the teams that were projected 1, 2, and 3 finish 4, 5, and 6. So the lottery, you just never know what you're going to get.
Nope. We've been talking about that all year, Mike. Exactly. Hey, I appreciate you leading us off today. Have a good afternoon.
All right, thank you.
All right, when we get back, I'm going to talk about a question that just came in about the relationship between Scott Perry and Tom Thibodeau, and if that's a possibility. That's next right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
All right, Kings fans, quick timeout with your guy Rhino from the Grant Napear Show. Like me, if you're already watching every Reno screen, every Monk 3, you might as well make it more interesting with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports site in America, and it's simple. You pick 2 to 6 players and choose whether they'll go more or less on their stat line. That's it. No salary caps, no revolving lineups. Tonight, maybe it's DeMar DeRozan. Points, more. Maybe it's Dylan Cardwell. Rebounds, also more. Maybe you fade somebody on the other side, like me. Pro football, hoops, elite college action. The action never stops with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code Rhino50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Rhino, RYNO 50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
Hey, folks, are you or do you know a veteran or family in need of a heating or air conditioning unit? I've got awesome news because DAS Mechanical is giving back by donating one to a veteran or family in need. Owner Nick Delancey and his family, hey, they're always looking to give back to the community, and they're excited to help out a veteran or family in need. Just go to dasmechanical.org and nominate yourself or, hey, someone you know to receive one. And yes, it comes with installation. It's very simple to enter. Go to dasmechanical.org, click the 2026 HVAC system donation tab. Fill out a very short 6-question nomination form. Nominate now at dasmechanical.org. DAS Mechanical, family-owned, locally owned, HVAC experts, serving Sacramento for years. For all of your HVAC needs, DAS will exceed your expectations. Once again, that's dasmechanical.org.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're going to talk some Giants baseball at 4 o'clock this afternoon with FP Santangelo. So I'm looking forward to that. That's coming up at 4 o'clock this afternoon. All right, so going to break, I received this message from a individual on the text line. Can I speak to the relationship between Scott Perry and Tom Thibodeau? I see Kings fans hoping he's the next guy, but I hear there is bad blood. All right, let me talk about this in two different ways. Doug Christie is the coach of the Sacramento Kings. And I'm not really comfortable in naming specific coaches to replace him while he still has a job. I don't think he's going to be retained, but right now he's the coach of the team. So I think it would be disrespectful to, other than ask the question, will he be retained as coach? I think it's disrespectful, and I'm not one to be in this market and talk about names to replace a coach that is currently in that position. I've never done that, and I won't do it unless there has been word from the organization that there will be a change at the end of the year, which very rarely happens. They make a change because they make a change, and it's normally done instantly. So I'm okay talking about your question and Tom Thibodeau, but I'm not going to talk about him coaching and getting a job in Sacramento because there is no job open. I'm going to say this about Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau wants to coach. Okay? Sacramento would be at the very bottom of his list. I believe that he would be very interested if an opening occurred in Orlando. I think he would jump all over that. I think he would be very interested in coaching in Philadelphia if that job opened up. I think he would be very open to coaching pretty much any team in the East because I think he would love to shove it up, you know where, the Knicks, you know what. And I think that would be very satisfying to him. And if the job opens in Orlando, I believe that Michael Malone is going to go after that job. And I believe Tom Thibodeau will go after that job heavily. I think that will be the number one job on their radar for those two coaches. And if that job becomes open, I believe that it will be either Michael Malone or Tom Thibodeau as the next coach of the Orlando Magic. It is my belief, based on the people that I have contacts with in the NBA that I trust, that Tom Thibodeau is not really a fan of Scott Perry. Okay? I wouldn't say that there's, as you said, bad blood there, or I'm not going down that road. I'm just saying in terms of basketball respect, from what my sources have told me, it's not great. But I also do know this about Tibbs. He's not getting any younger. And when you're a Tom Thibodeau and you're out of the league for a year, generally speaking, you get back in the second year. If Tom Thibodeau does not get a job this year, I think it is more likely than unlikely that he gets another job. I think this is it for him. Now, here's the other aspect of that. Mike Brown just got $10 million a year to go coach the Knicks, to replace Tom Thibodeau, who, oh yeah, by the way, took the team to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. The Knicks had their best season in 25 years. Tom Thibodeau is going to demand a salary that I think certain franchises will not be willing to pay. And I think one of those franchises, should there ever become an opening in Sacramento, would be Sacramento. So I hope I answered your question in a way that satisfies you. Until there is an opening here in Sacramento, I'm not going to talk about specific names and who I think would be the next coach. I will be happy to talk to you about scenarios based on what another individual is looking for. But again, the Kings already have a coach. There is not an opening. If that changes, or once that changes, then we can go right on down the list. I've got a list, but I'm not going to go down that road. But as far as Tom Thibodeau goes, I know he desperately wants to coach. I know that for a fact. That's not just me, like my opinion. I know it to be factual. He also understands that this is a gigantic year for him to get back onto the sidelines because of what I just mentioned. All right? One thing about Tibbs, okay? You know what you're getting. Like there's no like, you know what you're getting in him. And you know that when he, as a coach, talks about defense, it's not just window dressing. If you are going to hire Tom Thibodeau, if you're a team that has a coaching vacancy and you hire Tom Thibodeau, you know exactly what you're getting. And you better have a lot of players that like to wear their hard hats to work every day. And you better have players that don't mind getting their nose dirty. And you better have players that understand that if you're going to play for Tibbs, you got to be able to guard people. That's the way it is. It's not just like, well, we're going to do this. We are going to do that. Said, why is it disrespectful to talk about who could possibly replace Doug, but it's not disrespectful to talk about who could replace the Orlando coach? Because I'm not in Orlando, and nobody in Orlando's listening to me, and nobody in Orlando gives a damn what I have to say. That's why. Okay? That's why. Because nobody in Orlando is listening to Grant Napear, and it doesn't matter what I say about Orlando. It's a different dynamic here because of my role in the community with a sports radio show and my philosophy of working in a community that has a professional team that has people employed. That's why. Let's get to Bill in Citrus Heights. Hello, Bill.
Hi, Grant. Very interesting conversation about basketball coaches. Just
Thank
curiosity, in your opinion, your thoughts. What's more prestigious? A lot of discussion about what's going on in North Carolina. Being the college coach for North Carolina coaches the Sacramento Kings?
That's a great question. I would have to say North Carolina for sure. I don't think it's close, but that's my opinion. I mean, North Carolina is at the top of the mountaintop when it comes to college basketball, always has been. I mean, you're talking about Dean Smith and you're talking about Roy Williams in particular, and you're talking about all of the great players that have come out of that program, such as Michael Jordan, just to name one. And the Dean's Dome and that area of the country, to me, it's North Carolina. I think it's the most prestigious job in America for basketball. I think that and Duke are the two most prestigious jobs in all of college basketball.
Well, and so those are if the Kings want to create their infrastructure, finding a coach that would be North Carolina regular, Duke ready is going to be tough because they got to compete against them, not just against other pro, NBA.
Yeah, well, I'm not worried about any. There's 30 teams in the NBA, and there's probably going to be, I'm just doing this off the top of my head, 5 to 7 openings this year in the NBA, and there are a lot of qualified coaches to fill those positions. So I'm not really worried about that. If I'm running an NBA team, regardless if the team is good, like the Knicks were last year, or it's not good, like maybe a team like Sacramento or another team, I'm not worried about that. There's always coaches available, and there's always coaches that want jobs, and there's always a coach like Tom Thibodeau that wants jobs. Michael Malone wants to get back in. I mean, these guys like Malone that's won a championship, like Tibbs that's been successful, that's in their blood. That's what they do. That's what they want to do. They want to coach. They don't want to be broadcasters or, behind the scenes like Tom Thibodeau is.
Okay, well, thank you for your observation. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan, we'll take you in on this topic as it relates to Tom Thibodeau, not here in Sacramento, but just as a basketball fan and his resume. Like, any team that were to hire Tibbs, you got to be ready to work because he's going to work you probably harder than any team you've played for. I mean, that's just something about the guy. There's no messing around with him. You know what it's going to be like, and you're not going to have a lot of days off with him.
Well, and you have to consider the personnel that's on your team and the personnel that you're looking to bring on your team, because the way he coaches is not for everyone. And, depending on who your star is, what their strength is, it could be a bad pairing. But I would say those who have played under Tibbs always say they love playing under Tibbs. And I like the guy. I like him a lot. Not saying I like him here in Sacramento, but it's definitely one of those guys that can turn a place around, and he's going to have a voice in every room in that building as well.
Well, that's the whole key. He is going to have a voice in that room. Like, you're going to know who's in charge, and there's going to be a degree of respect. And listen, Tom Thibodeau and his background, he's not for everybody. Okay, you have to change your mindset if you're a player.
Yeah.
And if not, it won't work playing for Tom Thibodeau. That's been well chronicled.
That's right. And I felt like he got an unfair shake to a degree in New York for playing guys too much and having a short rotation, because the guys that were playing loved playing for Tibbs.
Yes.
And I thought that actually showed you that guys need to be in better shape in this NBA, because as the playoffs went on, the Knicks got stronger when it came to conditioning. It wasn't one of those things
Correct.
where they were getting tired.
That's very, very true. I think the biggest mistake that players make, or we in the media make, maybe more so than the players, it's not about making it through 82 games. That should never be the goal of a player.
Yeah.
The goal should be to play until June. And so that when you're working out in the summer, your goal should not be, I need to make it until April 14th, 15th, 16th, or whenever the regular season ends. My goal should be, I need to play an extra 25 or 30 games, and I got to have my body ready to go so that I can play until June, because the playoffs go right around until the third week of June. That should always be a player's mindset. And very often, we in the media fail to acknowledge that.
No doubt about it. I think you make a great point. Was it Scott Pollard who brought that up one time?
Actually, Doug brought that up to me when I worked
Okay.
with him. When I asked him about getting ready for the season to play 82 games, and he would say, no. Your mentality should not be to play 82 games. Your mentality should be to play 82 games and then be ready to go for the next 2 months. He's the one that first brought it to my attention where I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and as you get deeper into that run, you get a little bit more rest as well because the NBA finals are way too spaced out, Napes. They got to bring those things a little closer together.
Yeah, Doug was always in great shape. Doug always was very serious about his body. Doug was always mentally trying to stay a step ahead of his competition when it came to his physical shape, right? Like his stamina and him being able to play. And he's the guy that would play every night, right? Like we talk about Harrison Barnes. He plays every game.
Yeah.
We talk about being ready to play every game. We talk about playing in April. We talk about playing in May. He talk about playing in June. Well, Harrison's done all of that. He's won a championship before.
Yeah, and I would say Doug's in tremendous shape still right now. I mean, I've been around him enough to see he could still throw a little cardio out there. But I will answer your question earlier in the show about an identity for this team.
Yes.
It's experimental. That's the word that I would use. No, I really do because of all of the injuries. And now you're starting to see, and I don't think I'm going too far. You're starting to see Max Reynaud butt up a little bit as a leader. And DeMar DeRozan's buying into it. Malik Monk's buying into it. And certainly Kings fans are buying into it. Max has got a little bit of a moxie to him. And to me, that is what's exciting. That's what I'm watching this season, the development. Now, conversely, Devin Carter, you look at his stat line last night. Okay. I thought he played terrible. I did not think that he played well whatsoever, especially at the point guard position, but experimental, Napes. That's the word.
Okay, I'm fine with experimental. What do you hang your hat on this year if you're the Sacramento Kings? Max Reynaud, right?
You hang your hat on Max Reynaud, 100%. I don't know what you take and whether he'll be here or not, but DeMar DeRozan as well. It stinks that this season has been so bad that what DeMar has done this season is so under the radar, but you got to find a way to take a little bit of that into what you hang your hat on as well.
The reason why I'm not hanging my hat on him is he's not going to be here next year. And so I've purposely left him out. And the reason why I've done that is very simple. I appreciate him tenfold for the way he's played this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I also understand that when the Kings had their full complement of players, for the most part, they've never had that this year. But when they were only down one guy, let's say, for the first month of the season, when they didn't have Keegan, but they seemingly had Sabonis, they had Zach LaVine, they had DeRozan. We used to complain about the ball getting stuck all the time, okay? And we used to talk about that. And I think that DeMar's season, and again, I have completely respected what he's done in his career and everything that he's achieved in his career, going all the way back from Toronto. He's always been a player that's been high on my radar. He does something that very few people in this league can do, and that's take a mid-range jumper and be comfortable with it and do it as well as pretty much anybody in the league and the way he plays and everything else. But if you really want to get down to it, his greatest success this year, if I can call it that, has been with the other players around him. No Sabonis, no LaVine. He's pretty much carried the scoring load night in, night out, right? Almost every night. And he's playing 35 to 40 minutes on a lot of nights in the absence of these other players. And he's there every night. And I think he's garnered a lot of respect from the Kings fans and people like you and me and others for the way he's handled himself.
Well, two things. First off, the Kings don't win the game yesterday without him, and he only had 10 points. The reason I say that is because he was getting doubled and he continued to make the right play. he got into the areas of the court that would open up the spots for your other guys like Max. He really likes that 10, 12-foot push shot. The other thing I would say is, yes, there's an element of the ball sticking because of DeMar, but there's also an element of the Kings playing the wrong combinations together. When you talk about putting a basketball team together, you have to have the different pieces that fit together. In many cases this season, when the Kings had close to a full deck, I felt like you ran out your best 5 players all at the same time, where their games do not mesh. Some of those players do the exact same thing, and that causes the ball to stick.
Okay, so what you're referring to is bad coaching.
It's some points in the season, yes, there's decisions that I think many people have questioned about Keon not being part of a starting combination, maybe not bringing a Zach LaVine off the bench. Those are the things that I think would have at least kind of spread things out more evenly, so you have a more balanced attack. It's not as condensed.
We'll talk more about this when we come back. We'll talk Giants baseball at 4 o'clock with FP Santangelo, all coming up right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Hey golfers, we got something special to tell you. Par 18 Golf Training Center has arrived. Par 18 Golf is a cutting-edge golf performance and training center designed to up your game to an entirely new level. Par 18 Golf trains with TrackMan performance systems. TrackMan practice bays utilize Doppler radar and high-speed cameras that capture every motion and aspect of your swing, from your posture and stance to the flight angle and trajectory of the ball and its distance and speed. TrackMan practice bays are the same system that PGA and LPGA professionals use to perfect their game. Whether you're sharpening your short game, dialing in driver distance, or preparing for tournament play, Par 18 Golf is where performance meets precision. You'll train smarter, perform better, and compete with an entirely new level of confidence. Visit par18golf.com today and experience the future of golf performance. Open anytime by reservation. Visit par18golf.com to make your reservation.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gabrudes. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gabrude and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans, to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gabrudes does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gabrudes, expert 5-star service and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gabrudes.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrudes.com.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. But but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
This question from a fan on the 916-779-0929 line. Grant, you may have already discussed this with the A's when they first got here last year, but what the heck would Major League Baseball do if the A's had a deep run in the playoffs? Would they still use their current field? Yeah, of course they would. What are they going to do? Of course they would. Think they're going to play a whole year in a city and then go to the playoffs and play somewhere else? They're not going to do that. Of course they would. Absolutely.
Those would be some expensive tickets.
They would be some expensive tickets. There's no question about that, but it would also be full. So it's supply and demand if that were to ever happen.
I think that would be a really fun playoff run, by the way. The atmosphere in a smaller stadium.
Great.
Yeah.
It would be great. It would be fabulous. Listen, I think Seattle should clearly run away and hide with the American League West. I think on top of many other things, I think how their season ended last year.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was such a hard way to lose the year. That should really have a hunger in them. Oh, yeah, by the way, they have really good players and they're really talented. And I don't see Houston being able to win the division. I don't think Texas. I love the A's lineup, but they just don't have the arms. They just don't, right? And then the Angels. I mean, Seattle should easily win that division. The question is, who's going to be the runner-up in that division, and will it be enough to be a wild card? You know, and if the A's pitching was just decent, I think they're going to be right there this year. I really do.
I don't disagree with you. They've got to be able to play some defense and be able to pitch, and especially from the bullpen. That was a struggle at times for them. Seattle's fan base is so interesting because it reminded me so much last year of San Francisco's when they were on that run for that first, 2010, 2011 World Series. They're just on the verge. They just can't get over.
Yep. How about this, Grant? I was in downtown San Diego on Friday night and ran into some Kansas fans after their game who made the trip out here. I asked them straight up, would you draft Peterson with a top 3 pick? All said no. I think most of the Rock Chalk Jayhawk fan base is done with him. That's from Danny. Well, he's going to be gone, so I can understand why they would be done with him. I understand the Kansas fans because Scott Pollard is one of my very best friends on the planet, and we talk about this very often. And I've been to Lawrence, Kansas, and I've been to a game. And I know other alum from Kansas. And I can see why Darren Peterson would not be a guy that they would want to wrap their arms around. So I can't say that I'm surprised by that.
He's not. Right? He wasn't even first team conference because he didn't play enough games.
That's correct.
Here's what I would say. I have not watched a ton of Peterson. I have not done my deep dive. I watched his games in the tournament, and he is impressive when he wants to be impressive. When that game got close against Cal Baptist, he was nowhere around the basketball, and Cal Baptist wasn't taking him away. He's not. He has the skill that you can see that goes for days, but it's only like, when Cal Baptist guards started hitting shots and then Peterson's like, all right, let me show you. He's just not always engaged. And that is a major concern with somebody that has that much talent. Major.
Said Grant, the Astros always seem to be in the mix for the division title. They do. I mean, you're right. And it's a tremendous baseball city. And so you're right. They always do seem to be there. It's nice that we have baseball starting this year. I don't know what the interest level is. I know there are a lot of Giants fans in our area, but they also play in the division with the Dodgers, and barring a bunch of catastrophic injuries, I don't see how the Giants, the Padres, or the Diamondbacks, those are the next three teams that could all finish second. And I think the Giants have as good a chance as anyone to finish second in that division. But I don't see how anyone can catch the Dodgers. I mean, they have an all-star lineup with an all-star pitching staff. They should win that division easily. They should. I like the Padres. I think the Giants are pretty good. I like the Diamondbacks are pretty good. The Rockies are terrible, but the question is, can they have one or two wild cards, and can the Giants be that team? We're going to ask FP Santangelo that very question coming up here in about 7 or 8 minutes. He's dialed in with that team.
Let me ask you a quick question, and maybe it would have already happened, but with the looming CBA and possible salary cap, do you think we're going to see a ton of players push to get extensions and paid this year?
It's a great question. I'll ask FP about that. He's been through a labor stoppages before. He understands the dynamic of that. So I'll ask him. It's a good question. It's a very good question. I would say that the sport of baseball has a lot of momentum right now, coming off that thrilling World Baseball Classic. And if we're talking 12 months from now, not having baseball because of a work stoppage that could loom and go very, very long, you better enjoy this year, and you better enjoy it in Sacramento, because if they were to just stop play altogether, that's it. They're going to Vegas the following year. I mean, have you seen the aerial views of that ballpark being built? It's coming along very nicely. It's not like it's not being done. It's there. It's being built, and it's being built rapidly, and it's right on schedule. And I mean, it's going to happen.
Are you sure?
It's going to happen.
Are you sure those aren't AI images?
No, in this day and age, no. I don't know what I'm sure about anything when I look at video on the internet anymore. Are you?
No, AI needs a watermark. It
really does
sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, it's unbelievable. A lot of times I'll look at comments to find out if it's AI or not, because I'm looking at, first of all, if it's something that you're like, that can't be true, then it's not true, right?
Yeah, they're coming up with some really, really good ones. They call them deep fakes.
They call them what?
Deep fakes.
Really?
Yes. Or at least that's what my friends call them.
I think it's a great lesson for those in our business. When you report something, you better make sure that it's accurate and not manufactured. And that's whether you get something off Twitter, off Instagram, off TikTok, whatever the case may be. You better darn verify it and make sure it's true before you take it as gospel. We've seen coaches get fooled.
Preach.
Right?
Yes. Preach. Keep going.
Well, no, I don't need to get going, because we've seen coaches get fooled, and they've had to then apologize because they went with something that was fake. And we've heard, I mean, you better make sure that it's from a verified source that is the source, and not a fake source, right? Not an imposter. I've got imposters everywhere, and I'm only Grant Napear.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it's like for the real famous people in the country and well-known? I mean, seriously, it's a joke.
It's insane. You're spot on. But please do not take away the AI post-game interviews from the players. It's like what they really are thinking. Those are great.
They are great.
Those are really good.
All right, we will talk some baseball when we return. FP Santangelo, what about the Giants? New manager, NL West. Yankees are in town to open up the season. Wow, what a way to start it off. FP Santangelo. We'll talk Giants baseball next, right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Call Gabroods or visit Gabroods.com. Gubroods.
If you've been waiting to buy a home, then you must be prepared to act soon for what's about to happen in the real estate market. The expected Fed rate cuts will renew the housing market demand. Buyers, like you, will flood the market. Bidding wars will happen, homes will sell quickly. You need to get your ducks in a row, and the best way to start is with an experienced broker to represent you. Village Financial's Spencer Grimmenstein is that broker. Spencer's white glove service, boutique experience, one-stop shop method makes it so easy. Spencer will navigate you through the process from start to finish. He has extensive home listings to choose from throughout Northern California. His 30-year mortgage brokering experience will get you the best rates. He also has access to private money to help you expedite getting your offer accepted and closed. And don't forget that it makes sense to call Spence. Call now to schedule a free home buying consultation. 916-805-4868. 916-805-4868. Or visit Spencer's Village Financial website at bfgloans.com.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
All right, Kings fans, quick timeout with your guy Rhino from the Grant Napear Show. Like me, if you're already watching every Reno screen every month 3, you might as well make it more interesting with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports site in America, and it's simple. You pick 2 to 6 players and choose whether they'll go more or less on their stat line. That's it. No salary caps, no revolving lineups. Tonight, maybe it's DeMar DeRozan. Points, more. Maybe it's Dylan Cardwell. Rebounds, also more. Maybe you fade somebody on the other side, like me. Pro football, hoops, elite college action. The action never stops with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code RHINO50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code RHINO, RYNO 50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Did you hate your heating bill this winter? Fix it with 10-10-20 from Sierra Pacific. 10 years parts and labor warranty, 10 years to pay, and 20% off a new Sierra Pacific comfort system. Plus, this system will get SMUD customers a $3,000 rebate. Lock in the best price of the year on the best option for heating and cooling your home. 10-10-20. Only from Sierra Pacific.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
I love the exercise classes at the senior center, and I love eating healthy, but it can be expensive. BenefitsCheckup.org connected me to programs that help me pay for groceries. Visit BenefitsCheckup.org today.
Supported by the U.S. Administration for Community Living.
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports, KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Well, it is a big week because it means it is baseball season. A guy that played 7 years in the bigs, including a year with the Giants, including also at the end of his career, the A's. El Dorado Hills' very own, so he is a local guy, and he's doing a phenomenal job with the Giants after spending so many years in Washington as their TV analyst, joining the Giants broadcast crew a couple of years ago. He's also a good friend. It's always a pleasure to talk with FP Santangelo. FP, how are you?
Grant, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. You forgot Sacramento Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm a big deal now.
Oh, you know what? This
your
past
people
year.
called my people.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Your people called my people. We had to arrange this interview because I have people working for me now. Because I'm kind of a big deal. I'm in the Sacramento Baseball Hall of Fame.
Hey, you know what? It is a big deal. And you know what? We joke about that, but I had on Buck Martinez last week, and I love Buck. And we were talking about Sacramento when he grew up and with Dusty Baker, and how many phenomenal individuals, athletes from this area have gone on and played in Major League Baseball. So before we even get to the Giants and the Yankees, I wanted to ask you about this. You growing up in El Dorado Hills, your ability to play baseball with so many players from this area that you probably looked up to that were in the bigs. What about this area? What makes it such a great baseball town?
Well, I mean, I joke about the Sacramento Baseball Hall of Fame, but it's really cool when you think of the names that are in there and the people that have gone before you and played baseball in the 916. And I mean, it was a baseball town growing up, whether it was games at Renfree Field or, playing at Sac City at Land Park or playing at Oak Ridge High School in El Dorado Hills, American Legion Ball in Folsom. I mean, the competition level was crazy. And I had guys that I looked up to, as a teenager going to Oak Ridge High School, whether it was Greg Vaughn or Eric Woods from Folsom High School, or, you just had these guys that you looked up to and you wanted to be like. And then you started to see, well, if Steve Sachs got there from Marshall High School in West Sacramento, then maybe I can do it too. So these guys paved the way in the competition level in the high school. You were competing for a batting title and you wanted to make the Optimus All-Star team. And then you wanted to get a scholarship. And then, you want to play at Sac City for Jerry Weinstein. So, I mean, just the history of baseball in our hometown, whether it's Logan Webb now, and I could go on and on naming guys from Sacramento that are playing in the big leagues. It's just a different mentality, Grant. Like everybody that played baseball in Sacramento played it the right way, whether it was Larry Boa, just hard-nosed, Fernando Vina, scrappy, playing the game hard every night, playing it a certain way. And, anybody that came from Sacramento, we wore that like a badge. And when we see each other in the minor leagues, or we see each other in college, or we see each other in the big leagues, we always gravitated toward each other because we had that one thing in common. We all started in Sacramento and we all played the game a certain way.
FP Santangelo, our guest. You live in San Francisco. You work with the Giants as a broadcaster. You're around the team every day. Yankees in town to open up the season. New manager. A lot of optimism with the roster this year. What's the buzz like in San Francisco right now as it relates to this Giants team?
Well, I'm just going to hop in the shower here in a second and go over and watch the exhibition game against the Sultanes from the Mexican League. They're playing 2 games against them before they get ready for the Yankees on Wednesday night. The Major League Baseball opener, not just the Giants opener, the Major League Baseball opener, the first ever game broadcast on Netflix. It's going to be a big deal. So we're all excited about the 5 p.m. start on Wednesday night. But I was in spring training for 3 weeks, Grant. So I was around the guys and around Tony. And I've gotten to know Tony very well. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the hire. I'm a big fan of the person. The authenticity is through the charts. The energy is through the charts. And the best way I can describe him, and this is in such a complimentary way, I think, Grant, he's the first ever Major League Baseball head coach. Like, I don't look at him as a manager, because when I watched him interact with the players in spring training, he was coaching just like he did at Tennessee. He would get them all up on the mound. He would point out things in drills that were good, and he would say some things they needed to work on. But he's always coaching. And a lot of times at the big league level, the manager's more like a CEO, right? Where he's making up the lineups, he's making up the roster, and he's bringing guys into his office and talking to them. You've seen that in the NBA. I've seen that in Major League Baseball, where this guy's really coaching. And all the drills in spring training were full speed, game speed, bringing kids over from the minor league camp to run the bases and situational fundamental stuff, whether it was rundowns or, runner on first, 1 out, top of the first. And then Jace Tingler would hit a ball in the gap, and they'd have to, play it live. And they did it live, and they were throwing hard and playing hard and working up a real lather in spring training. And sometimes you don't see that with major league teams. It's just, it's spring training. We're going through the motions. We'll ramp up. But these guys really practice hard. So they were 19-9 in spring training, whatever that means. I don't know, but it's better than 9-19. And you get a feel of how it is to win. But we're real excited about the Giants this year. The city of San Francisco is excited, and everybody always brings up the Dodgers, and obviously they're a formidable opponent, and they've won 2 World Series back to back. But if this team plays hard and they play fundamentally sound baseball and they do all the little things and they show up every single day, they're going to be a team that has a chance to play in October. We never know what's going to happen with injuries over the course of a 6-month season, but there's a lot of optimism right now with this ball club, and the city's buzzing. I mean, it's great. It's going to be like a Super Bowl meets playoff type atmosphere, because there's no other sport like baseball on opening day. There really isn't. I mean, you think of the first NFL game, yeah, we're all excited. It's NFL. First NBA game, okay, let's go. But like opening day should be a
And the
national
Yankees?
holiday.
Wow.
And the Yankees on national TV, the only game on the schedule, the first Netflix game, a college coach is now the major league manager. There's so many great storylines that we're all really fired up, obviously, for Wednesday.
So you talk about Tony and what you like about him. You've been around a lot of managers. You've been on the field. You've watched a lot of game from the booth. What do you think is going to be his biggest challenge when this season begins on Wednesday for the dog days of summer and everything else that goes in there with being a manager, or the terminology you use as a head coach?
Well, you would think it's a great question. You would think the obvious, right? The getting the players to buy in, and he hasn't done it before, but they've already bought in, and they really want to play for him. I think his biggest challenge is going to be that there was rumors that he was taking spring training losses hard, that he wants to win everything all the time, and you kind of like that. But also at the University of Tennessee, he never lost 70 games in a year. If the Giants go 90-72, I mean, that's a good season, and they're in the playoffs. So I think his biggest challenge is to not treat every game like Game 7 of the World Series, that'll just wear you out over 6 months in a 162-game schedule. And just to be able to learn, I talked to Davey Johnson about this once, to learn how to lose a game, meaning this one's out of hand tonight.
Yeah.
And how do I start positioning for Game 2 and Game 3 of the series if Game 1's getting away? Or how do I position for the rubber match in Game 3 when we've split the first two games, but we're losing Game 2 8-1 in the 7th inning? So learning how to like let go, lose a game to maybe win 3 or 4 in a row after that. So that's going to be a challenge. He's never going to have a season, or he's never had a season where he's lost 70 games.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the strengths of this team, and what do you think are the question marks of this team?
The strengths are obviously Rafi Devers. He's got to have a Rafi Devers year. He can hit 40 home runs if he's locked in. Never really got a swing right in spring training. He's been a historical slow starter, at least last year in Boston. He got off to a slow start. I think he was 0 for his first 19 with 13 strikeouts, but he had all that other stuff off the field going on, and he had to deal with that. And then he got traded here, and there was an adjustment period. So we're excited to see him in a Giants uniform for 6 months and to have a full season here and to see what he could do, because this park can't hold him. The guy's got incredible pop. I'm really excited about Luis Ariz and the contact hitter that he is on a team with so much swing and miss, and a 3-time batting champion, and him playing second base, working with Ron Washington. He's made a lot of improvements over there. So there's a lot of great storylines. I think the one thing I am worried about, and maybe worry is the wrong word because there's some really good arms down there, is the bullpen. Yeah. How is Tony going to get outs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th? Say Logan Webb goes 6 1/3 opening day against the Yankees, and it's 2-0. Like, who's getting those last outs? And how are they going to perform in the bright lights and high leverage situations late in the game? There's Eric Miller. There's Ryan Walker. There's Jose Butto. There's some guys that are going to make the team in camp that had great camps. So we'll see who takes the bull by the horns and says, hey, I'm a high leverage guy. I want to be in there in the 8th in a 1-run lead, or I want to be your closer. So I think those are the question marks right now, and we'll see how it all plays out.
A fan wanted me to ask this question because of your 7 years in the bigs and being around the game pretty much your whole adult life. At the end of this season, or even during this season, there's a labor issue that looks like it's clearly going to be on the horizon. And he wanted to ask, does that influence a player maybe trying to agree to an extension now as opposed to waiting? Like, did you think a lot during your playing days about labor situations?
No, Grant. I hated agents. I hated the union. I hated all that crap. I just wanted to run out between the lines and play hard and get dirty and win a ball game.
Yes, that's what you did. That's your mentality.
Tell that fan he's buzz-killing opening day 2026 by thinking about 2027 already. I'm not there, Grant. I don't know what the hell I'll do without a season, man. I'm living in downtown San Francisco, and it's expensive.
Oh my God.
So I'll either have to get an OnlyFans or something. I have no idea how I'm going to make it. through 2027.
You're a piece of work. You know that?
Our speaking engagements may be something more appropriate. But yeah, I don't even want to let my mind go there, Grant, because you know me. Baseball's my life, man.
I know.
And if there's no season next year and you can't broadcast games, or you can't be around the ball club every day, and you can't interact with the players and the coaches, and what I think is the best broadcast team in baseball, me excluded in that. I mean, with Kipe and Kruk and Dwayne and John and Dave Fleming.
It is the best in baseball. It's unbelievable.
Kipe and Kruk and Dwayne. That's
my gosh.
3 people. It's only 2. It's Kipe and Kruk, but you know what I mean. So I really don't. If I didn't have baseball, I don't know what I would do. So my mind doesn't even go there until it's time to go there. If that makes sense.
FP, when I had Buck Martinez on, he was the manager for the inaugural World Baseball Classic in 2006, and we were talking about that. And quite honestly, when the WBC began, I was lukewarm about it. But I would tell you that the USA-Dominican Republic game and USA-Venezuela, I didn't miss a pitch. And you know what, FP? It reminded me of the era that you played in. It reminded me of why I fell in love with baseball, watching Mickey Mantle in the 60s and following the Yankees in their run in the 70s and always wanting to watch baseball. And then, I'll be honest, over the last couple of years, I've lost interest because I haven't been a fan as much as the way the game is played. For me personally, FP, the ball is not in play enough, and we can go on and on. But I thought particularly the World Baseball Classic, the games against the Dominican and the games against Venezuela were as good as I can remember. I mean, I know the World Series was great last year, FP, but if we put the World Series on the back burner, that was phenomenal baseball. What a spectacle that was last week in Miami.
Yeah, we were really cool. And I was happy for Team Venezuela because, having played winter ball down there a few years, I know how important baseball is to that whole
What was
country.
that like?
Yeah, it was amazing. And just a wonderful culture, wonderful people, high brand of baseball when you're in the minor leagues, playing against big leaguers. It was tough. I think I went there from AA and played a winter ball in Maracaibo. So when they won, and to see the guys crying and how much it meant to them to represent their country, and to see the videos of people out in the streets of Venezuela like they won the World Cup soccer celebrating. I'll just say this: there's a narrative that Team USA didn't care. They cared. They cared a lot, and we as Americans care about baseball a lot. But do you think people would have went out in the streets of San Francisco or Sacramento and celebrated if Team USA won? Would they have been crying if Team USA won?
No.
So while it meant a lot to the American players, like baseball is life in Latin America, whether it's the Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, or Mexico. Like baseball is everything down there, and they talk about it on the street, and there's conversations on the street corners, and they debate about players all day, and kids grab, sticks and tape up balls and play in the streets all day. So it's just different, and the meaning of it to Venezuela. So to see all those guys crying and the joy that they had and all the celebrations afterwards was kind of cool to me. And not that I was rooting against USA, but it was kind of cool to see a culture where baseball means so much to win that whole thing.
Before I let you go, growing up in El Dorado Hills, starting at Sac City, then going to play for the Miami Hurricanes, your elevation to the Montreal Expos and being in that city and baseball, and then retiring, moving up in the broadcasting ranks, taking the job with Washington, being on that side of the country. Do you pinch yourself now, living in San Francisco, being part of the Giants organization and broadcasting games with the legends that you just mentioned?
Yeah, dude, I do. It was tough in the mean streets of El Dorado Hills growing up. I mean, it was hard, with all the crime and and the poverty up there.
Oh my God.
It was really hard to get out of El Dorado Hills.
Yeah.
So I was growing. I had to be tough. No, but seriously, Grant, I was doing a post game rap the other day, or last year, I should say. And we talked when I was in DC. My dream was to do games with my idols. My idols are Dwayne Kuiper and Mike Krukow and John Miller and Dave Fleming. I got into broadcasting because of those guys. And so I was doing a rap last year in September, post game rap, where the radio side comes over to the TV side and we pick players. And it was myself, John Miller, Mike Krukow, and Dwayne Kuiper. And I'm sitting there like in the booth trying not to get choked up on the radio because I'm, like you said, pinching myself that I get to work with the guys that inspired me, along with yourself, inspired me to get into broadcasting in baseball. So, yeah, I'm super fortunate to be a small part of it. I'm lucky every day that I even made it to the big leagues as a player. I'm super humbled and grateful every single day. I talk about it a lot, Grant, and it's not like braggadociously. It's just I still can't believe I did it. So when I talk about like being a former player and playing for the Giants, it's because in my mind, I still can't wrap my head around it, where sometimes I'll be at a game and say, I used to do that. Like it seems like a different lifetime ago when I played in the major leagues, and I'll sit down in field level in some good seats when I'm not working. I'll be like, how did I do that? Like this looks so hard. And I can't believe that was my life for 7 years. So yeah, super blessed, dude, to come from a small town, which El Dorado Hills was when I grew up, with just cows and horses and barbed wire fences, and Division III, rattlesnakes, and a Division III program at Oak Ridge High School to all the way to the major leagues. And it was a battle, man. I spent 6 years in the minor leagues making no money, had a wife and a kid, and making $1,200 a month for 6 months and trying to make a living on that. But it all worked out. I'm still doing it, and I'm very blessed and very lucky to be doing it.
I remember going and watching you with the River Cats when you were there. I'm like, hey, FP, man, what's going on? Playing with the River Cats. You've done it all, my man. You've done it all.
Yeah, it was cool playing at home that year, even though it was AAA. But then it got even cooler when I got called up to the A's, and it was like Motley Crue meets baseball. And it was the most fun I ever had playing. We were 102-60, and I just flew home from Scottsdale from spring training. I get on the plane, and some guy goes, FP, and I go, hey. And I thought it was a fan. And he goes, Billy Bean. I go, Billy, what's going on? I go, I'm sitting next to you. So Billy and I sat next to each other the whole flight from Phoenix to San Francisco. We caught up on all our A's stories, and he still calls that 2001 team. He said it to me on the plane. He said, it's the best team I ever had. By far the best team I ever had as a general manager for the A's.
Hey, real quickly, because you were in spring training for 3 weeks, there's actually some buzz in Sacramento about the A's because of their lineup and their young lineup. Their pitching is going to be an issue, but they're going to be able to put some runs on the board, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a good team. It's a good lineup. Whether it's, I should know them better. We only did one game, but like I really like Kurtz, obviously. Yep. So, and I'm going to draw a blank on all the other guys, but they probably like it that way. At least we liked it that way in Oakland. We called ourselves the Island of Misfit. We were the Island of Misfit Toys. Jason Giambi used to call us that. We wore it like a badge. I feel bad those guys. I mean, I love Sacramento, and I think it's cool that fans get to see a big league team, but you work your whole life to get into that third and fourth deck stadium and to be treated like a big leaguer. And I see the Vegas one is making progress, and they'll get players. Yep. Players are going to want to play in Vegas. So they have a bright future with a lot of good players that they locked up, where it's Soderstrom or their shortstop. And they got some really good players, and they have a good lineup. I think they're going to surprise a lot of teams in the AL West this year.
FP, man, enjoy the season. Enjoy the grind. It should be great. A lot of optimism. It's going to be just off the hook on Wednesday with the Yankees and the Giants opening up the season. All the best, my friend. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Grant. I got to pinch myself that you and I are doing interviews together again on the radio. That's pretty cool, man. I'm so happy for you, too.
Thank you, buddy. Take care. Talk to you soon.
All right, take
Bye-bye.
care, Grant.
All right. Good stuff, FP Santangelo. We'll come back if you want to talk baseball. We can do that. A's, where is your excitement level with the team? And what about the Giants? Are they a playoff team this year? Are they a wild card team? What do you think? Let me know next right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number:
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrud's.com.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Good stuff from FP Santangelo. That's going to be some game on Wednesday night. That's going to be some game. We're going to talk A's. We're going to talk Giants. We're going to talk baseball. Absolutely. I'm looking at some of the messages here about some baseball questions. There are a lot of questions about the A's pitching. Well, you know what? I don't know if their pitching can hold up, but if they have an injury or two, they're really going to be in trouble. You know, Ryan, when you look at depth, that's the area. They don't have depth in the bullpen or with their starters. And so, you know, if they lose a Severino, if they lose a number one guy, they're really in deep trouble. I mean, they got to be very lucky in that regard. They really do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Do you think if things are going well on the offensive side and the pitching is middle of the road and they lose a guy, are they in a place where you think they would go out and spend to try to compete?
Based on their history, probably not. Just based on their history. It's a fabulous question. I wonder, you know, FP talked about the labor situation. It didn't, but I wonder how does an owner think of that differently than players do at this point? I mean, obviously, if there's no baseball, they don't have to pay their players.
Right.
But, like, does that enter into how teams are going to run their squads this year?
It very well could, or I mean, how is that going to be approached? Because there's going to theoretically have to be some type of grandfathering into a cap because of some of the major salaries that are already on teams. But I guess then here's the other question that you have to think about, and it's something that everybody's pointing out. Can we even compete with the other league, with the Dodgers in it?
All right, so let's have some bold predictions here on Monday of the opening of baseball season.
Okay.
The Athletics will be a wild card team this year.
Yes.
Wow, that was quick.
Yep, I do believe they will.
Wow.
I think they're going to get some extra love with that City Edition. Sacktown jersey. That was a little something that irked the fans that you could
Yeah,
only.
but how does that translate into wins and losses?
Well, I'm not. Well, you can get some more momentum from the fans, but no, I think that they will end up having a little bit of a advantage, understanding that park a little bit more than
Okay.
the visiting teams that are coming in. And I got to think the pitching mound might be improved a little bit. And baseball's all offense sometimes these days, and I really like what they have on that side.
So,
Like it a
yes,
lot.
that was quick, by the way. That was
Yeah.
very fast.
Yep, I've got him booked in as a wild card. How about you? Also, the division too. Seattle, I think, runs away with it, but Mike Trout's going to go down at some point for 30, 40 games.
Yeah, of course.
The Angels, so I think it's their year.
I'm going to say no, but they're going to be on the brink when September 1st hits.
Wow. Okay.
Of having a chance to be a wild card. I don't think they're going to be buried or anything, but I'm going to say no. But I'm thinking that they're not going to be out of wild card contention, meaning that I think there are going to be some meaningful games, okay? I think there are going to be some meaningful games in the month of September. And I think it's going to be exciting to go to the ballpark. See, when I'm looking at the American League, all right, and I'm trying to figure out now, like, the teams that are going to be in the wild card, I think for sure you're going to have at least one team from the AL East other than the divisional winner and maybe two.
Okay.
All right? Because I think Baltimore and Toronto and the Yankees are going to be right there. All right? Then I'm looking at the Central, and I'm just wondering, Cleveland, Detroit, but I'm thinking, all right, how many are we going to have more than one team in the American League West once you get past Seattle? See, to me, I'm looking at the AL East. The Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Orioles are all going to be in the playoffs. Right now, I'm projecting that. Agree or disagree? Where are you at on that?
I'm on the fence when it comes to the Orioles, but I would agree with the top two.
I think the Orioles are going to be very good this year.
Okay. You know baseball better than I do, but I would say definitely the Blue Jays, definitely one of the two big teams that you.
All right. Well, I'm hoping that the A's are as exciting as the people that cover MLB on a regular basis project them to be. That they're one of those teams that could be competing for a wild card.
Let me take it a step further. Is it going to be the A's right around the wild card most of the season, or do you think they're going to make a late run?
No, I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be around the wild card most of the season.
Okay. Baseball's just such a long season.
Good love about FP. FP was great. Still remembering when he was on the morning show here about 20 years ago for a few years. Grant, what a refreshing interview with FP. You can hear the love he has for the game of baseball. Yes, he certainly does. That's the one thing about him. I've known FP for, 30 years. And the one thing about FP, and I knew him when he played with the Expos, so it might be longer than 30 years. He's always loved, and he played the game the way Pete Rose played the game. Never jogged to first, never took a possession off, and by a possession, you know what I mean. Never played he never cheated the game the way we see now with guys jogging and not trying to run out a pop fly. Like if FP popped the ball up, he'd be on second base when the fielder caught the ball. Right? He wasn't like, oh, I popped it up, I'm going to be thrown out. He'd end up on second base in case the guy dropped the ball. That's the way he played the game. That's the way I loved the way he played the game. And that's why he played in the bigs for 7 years, because he wasn't the most talented guy, but he outworked you. He out-hustled you. He had a passion and a love for the game that permeated through the locker room. That's why he played in the bigs for 7 years. He was a spark plug. That's how he played. That's how he went about the sport. He played the game every day with great passion. Like, he loved playing baseball. It was his passion. And he brought it to the ballpark every single day. You never had to question whether FP loved the game.
He loved the game, and he gave it everything he had, everything. And I love players like that. I just love the way he approached the game. All right, 916-779-0929. My prediction, umpires get killed this year by the ABS system. Just a month of spring training was bad. I can't imagine a whole season. I don't agree with that. I don't think you're going to get killed. I really don't. First of all, it's going to be interesting to see how teams use the challenge, because you only get 2 challenges, and if you're wrong, you lose them. So you have to keep that in mind, right? Are you going to wait? Like if there's no out in the top of the second, okay, and there's no score, and it's an 0-2 pitch, and you're the batter, and you think you got rung up on a bad call, are you really going to challenge that in that situation? You're probably going to wait until there's runners on, it's a scoring situation. You're probably not going to take a chance on a borderline pitch early in the game in a scoreless game. Ryan, what do you think about the strategy there with only 2 challenges? And if you're right, you get to keep the challenge. But, are you really going to waste a potential challenge early in the game, no score, nobody on base, unless you are 100% sure that the umpire got it wrong? I would say you're probably not.
Yeah, I don't think the manager is going to want the player to do that, but I'm sure you're going to see a few instances where a player is hot about something.
Yep.
They do it spur to the second, and we'll see some arguments between the manager and the player.
And the other aspect is the catcher has the best view.
Mm-hmm.
The pitcher, I could see being reactionary and going like this. It's going to be very interesting. On opening night, how that all works out.
Do you think more batters or more pitchers are going to call for challenges?
I think it's going to be batters.
I agree. I really probably don't want my pitcher calling for challenges. So
I don't.
That would be another spot where the pitchers need to kind of keep their calm if they think it was a strike and just swallow it, unless it is certain 100%, because I've been to minor league games where there's been 10, 12 challenges because they were certain that it was the wrong call.
Said, could manager watch on TV and relay to catcher? No, it's instantaneous, and so there's not enough time for that to happen, so that will not happen. It's either the catcher, the batter, or the pitcher.
Oh, you mean there's not going to be
I'm talking about on the text line. Said, could a manager watch on TV and relay to the catcher? The answer is no.
Oh, so they're not going to do like the NBA thing where a player talks to the umpire for like 30 seconds.
It has to be
instantaneous. The clock.
Yeah. Has to be instantaneous.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to be like that.
So ridiculous. How many challenges in the NBA this year have
Oh
we
my
seen?
gosh.
DeMar DeRozan had the basketball in his hands at the free throw line,
I know, right?
and they still allowed a challenge to come in. You never take the ball back once it's in their hands. Come on.
I didn't do the post-game show with you and Jerry. What was the crowd like yesterday?
Wasn't bad. It was Slamson's birthday. So
wow.
there was a lot of kids.
Of course.
In
3 o'clock
attendance.
game, Slamson's birthday.
Yeah.
Was it really Slamson's birthday, or was it just make-believe it's Slamson's birthday?
That's a
Did
good
you verify
question.
that? Did you look at Slamson's birth certificate?
That's a good question. I should have asked Slamson if he has a passport. You think
Oh,
Slamson
Slamson
has a
can speak?
passport? Can
Slamson can talk?
I don't know. You would know better than me.
Well, you just said you were going to ask him.
Well, I could ask and he could go,
I've never heard Slamson speak. That's why I'm wondering.
you've never heard Slamson speak?
Never.
Interesting. Yeah, so no, the crowd was pretty good. They were excited to see a Kings win and a daytime beam lit.
Said, I think it will be bad when the game ends on an ABS call and not letting the game play itself out. It's going to happen at some point. So what? I mean, if that's the way the game ends, then it ended on a correct call. I don't have a problem with that. Do you, Ryan?
No, that's
what the
point.
purpose of it's
Yeah,
for.
exactly.
Yeah. Did I miss the college basketball talk, Grant? When were you during the afternoon post-game show? What, I have to detail you what's going on in my private life? No, I talked some college basketball. I talked about the end of game situations. I talked about Florida and their horrible defensive scheme there when they lost the game. Like, what are you doing in that situation, Ryan? That's just amazing to me.
You could say the same thing about Darren Peterson and St. John's. He was in the position to come help, and he decided not to. But yeah, there was a couple, and then you had the other play in the first round where Kentucky hits that, 35-foot three-pointer, and the other team's coach was trying to call timeout.
Yeah.
The refs just didn't see it. The most surprising thing that I saw from this weekend, I guess we can include a little bit of today into the weekend, is Randy Bennett from St. Mary's is going
leaving
to
for
Arizona State.
What do you think about that? That's a big, 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 big loss for St.
My
Mary's.
mind is blown.
That's a huge, huge, huge departure for that school.
I thought he would have been going, and no offense to Arizona State, I know Bobby Hurley did a lot with that program. It just seems like maybe it's a little bit below Randy Bennett.
I would say this. First of all, the impact on St. Mary's is gigantic.
He is doing so. The successor coach, who was a player at St. Mary's, is going to be Mickey McConnell.
Yes.
He played from 2007 to 2011, and he's been on the staff since 2019. So I do like that he's kind of grandfathering it, handing it down, the succession. Same thing that happened with San Diego State. But I just didn't see that school getting.
Okay, I don't mean to malign the successor. I'm just saying that those are some big shoes to fill.
Massive. I mean, his footprint still stays on that program with his successor,
of course,
taking over. But I would have thought he would have gone for a Big 10, Big 12 ACC job.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Arizona State is in one of those conferences.
No, I know, but still,
yeah.
I'm with you on that. 916-779-0929. Don't forget, we've got Grant's Rant coming your way at 5 o'clock. We've got your phone calls at 916-779-0929. We'll wrap up the second hour of the show when we come back right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
There's a great American pastime that the entire family can enjoy together, located right outside of Sacramento. The Golden State Shooting Center welcomes you. The Golden State Shooting Center is an 80-acre clay target shooting facility. It's the home of numerous youth sport shooting teams from the region. Over 1,000 high school students from Northern California are on sports shooting teams, and 10 of the Western United States' top shooting teams train at Golden State Shooting Center. New members are being accepted now. For details, visit goldenstateshootingcenter.com.
Get the best. Bridgestone tires are engineered to keep your world moving, and that's what really matters. Now through March 31st, buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires and get $80 back on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. For the best selection in Bridgestone tires, get to Express Tires at 7215 Watt Avenue in Sacramento. Express Tires. Save big and get their 60-minute install guarantee. Get to Express Tires at 7215 Watt Avenue now. Express Tires.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
All right, Kings fans, quick timeout with your guy Rhino from the Grant Napear Show. Like me, if you're already watching every Reno screen every month 3, you might as well make it more interesting with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports site in America, and it's simple. You pick 2 to 6 players and choose whether they'll go more or less on their stat line. That's it. No salary caps, no revolving lineups. Tonight, maybe it's DeMar DeRozan. Points, more. Maybe it's Dylan Cardwell. Rebounds, also more. Maybe you fade somebody on the other side, like me. Pro football, hoops, elite college action. The action never stops with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code Rhino50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Rhino, RYNO 50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
916-779-0929. Brian, you mentioned to me in the first segment, or excuse me, the second segment, and I want to circle back on this. You were talking about Devin Carter's stat line yesterday, but you thought he played a really bad game. As we get down to the nitty-gritty, it's very clear he is not part of the Kings' future. I think we can agree on that. I'm wondering, with his contract situation and then picking up his option, if I'm not mistaken, how do you think his future is going to go with this franchise? Because I don't see it being here.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be here either. One thing that I am ready to say is he's not a point guard. And I respect the fact that Devin has really tried to turn himself into one. I get he can get to places on the court, Grant, but he's getting to the wrong places on the court. Yeah. He's getting stuck in corners. He's getting stuck in the paint, which leaves him with either the option of putting the ball up or throwing somebody a grenade. And there were a couple times yesterday where DeMar was doubled and, you know, he wanted it right back, didn't give it to him. If it is a future in Sacramento, it is not running the point. So where's that leave him, Napes?
That's what I was just going to say. Where does that leave him?
It leaves him as a combo guard that right now, statistically, is not shooting the basketball very well.
He doesn't shoot well enough from three.
Beyond the arc. I think there are places for him in the league. I just don't think Sacramento is going to be it. He's not a guy that'll be out of the league, but he's definitely not also somebody that moves on and is a Keon Ellis per se, Napes.
Yeah. Speaking of Keon Ellis, in the last 10 games for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the guy that's not good enough to play for the worst team in the Western Conference, the Sacramento Kings, is averaging 27 minutes a game, shooting 47.5% from the floor, 39.5% from beyond the arc, and 82% from the foul line. But he's not on the floor for that. He's on the floor for his defense. And he's averaging on a good team 27 minutes a night. But not good enough to play for your Sacramento Kings.
Grant, he is the perfect buffer that we've talked about, a guy that you want to have on the floor, but there is no obligation to get him going offensively yet if the ball lands in his hands. He can be productive. And that's working out exactly as it should be in Cleveland. And that wasn't
And as
working.
we forecasted.
Yeah, look, the key for the Kings, and you can give Scott Perry credit for locking up Dylan Cardwell, but you cannot let those guys go anymore. You can't. If you find late round talent, if you find undrafted talent, you have to keep them in Sacramento. Or you need to use them to get a better player than them. You just can't let them go like Keon did.
You think?
Well, it's just the Kings. It's the most frustrating thing about the Kings because the
Happens
last
every year.
3 years, quietly, they have the best developmental team in the league, in the G League. Quietly, their training staff, the guys that are improving games behind the scene, both in Sacramento and Stockton, are amongst the best in the league. But the Kings let them go. The Kings mismanage them once they get to Sacramento. And Stockton Kings back in the playoffs, Grant. 4th straight year. Won the G League title last year. Consistent, play with pace. They have a program. And the conversation, the collaboration between how you train these guys is working out really darn well. But then you get to Sacramento and it stalls. It can't happen. I'm sorry. It can't.
But it does. And it continues to. And Keon Ellis is the latest example of that. It's so frustrating. And I'm happy for Keon. I'm glad he's doing so well on another franchise. But we all knew it. Jerry knew it. You knew it. I knew it. The fans that go to the games knew it. Everyone seems to know that except for the general manager and the head coach. Why is that?
Well,
how does that happen?
Okay, so again, I don't fault Scott Perry completely. He came in on the back end of this Keon thing, and until we hear from Keon, maybe he made it clear. In fact, I know because Malik said on the record that Keon wanted out. Maybe that was the case.
Whoa. He only wanted out after he was buried. He didn't want out at the beginning of the year.
Correct. After he was traded, Malik said that. What I'm saying is I don't know if there's anything that came out, or there's nothing that's come out before that. Maybe he came into this season not wanting to be with Sacramento long term. If that's the case and that bridge had been burned, then what's Scott Perry supposed to do? Now it makes all the more sense that you're not playing him as much. You're going to feature somebody else. But what didn't make sense is when you started featuring him. So I guess
it goes back to nothing makes sense. That's what it really goes back to.
Okay, but
nothing makes sense.
Does it go back to injuries and the Kings just trying to play different combinations to match up with different teams? While in mind, this team was undersized to begin with.
It doesn't make sense when the head coach of your team, who wants a style of basketball similar to what he played, has a player that is, I don't want to say a mirror image to him, but is similar to the way Doug played in so many areas, right?
Yeah.
That guy doesn't play and gets buried on the bench. Like that the whole thing just doesn't make sense.
No, and that's why I think there's probably more to it. I also think, and again, not burying Russ, you know what Russ is. It's not his fault. It is who he is. But bringing him in with Schroeder, that really made things tough. Grant, we can knock Doug, but name me another coach in the NBA right now that probably could have handled that situation well. I don't know that there is one.
I don't think there are too many coaches in the NBA that would have been playing Russ on a lot of nights, 35 and 40 minutes.
Okay, that's fair.
The whole thing doesn't make sense to me. What does make sense is DAS Mechanical and how great their business has been. The 5-star reviews, the numerous best of the best awards backs that up. And they're doing a great deed for the community. They are donating either a heating or air conditioning unit to an individual family in need So whether you or someone you know, how about a veteran, needs a heating or air conditioning unit, well, guess what? DAS Mechanical is giving one away, and they will install it, no problems at all on the house. That's right. And all you need to do is go to dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org. Click on the 2026 HVAC nomination tab. Fill out a quick form. It will take a moment, and you can nominate yourself or somebody else. That's DAS Mechanical, locally owned, family owned, serving Sacramento and Placer counties. Go to dasmechanical.org, nominate yourself or someone else, and check out all of the things they can do for you. HVAC repair service specialist. They do it all. New systems, whatever you need, DAS Mechanical will be there for you. And again, nominate yourself or somebody you know. That's dasmechanical.org. Don't forget, coming up in a couple of moments, Grant's Rant. The Kings are on their way to Charlotte. They will take on Charlotte tomorrow to open up a lengthy road trip. This is the second year in a row, Ryan, where the Kings have gone east so late in the season. I mean, it's so unusual, the travel schedule, but that's where they're at this year with a long East Coast road trip on the end of the season that will conclude, by the way, in Toronto. It's very, very, they did it last year too. Very unusual.
It's really interesting that you bring this up because I asked somebody with the team in the know yesterday, and they said it's because of the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, but the NCAA tournament is not in Sacramento this year.
Yes, it is. The women are here.
Oh, my bad. You're right. The women. I beg your pardon. My bad. You're right. So that means the building's not available. Correct. And when the men's tournament was here, it was the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
So it was a good job by them.
By the way, that is a great job. And thank you for correcting me. It's great for the community that the women's tournament's here. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as you don't get a game like Syracuse and UConn today.
Wow.
Syracuse doubled up UConn. Or excuse me,
see the crowd. What was the
UConn
crowd?
doubled up Syracuse.
I didn't see the crowd. What was the building like? Do you know?
In that game, pretty good. They played in UConn. That's the thing with the women's tournament. The first rounds are on home courts.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Was that a good crowd for that game?
Yeah, very good. Looking at it now. And that's a big building, too.
What is that hold? Do you know?
I want to say between 16 and 17. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. So here's the road trip, Rhino. Charlotte, Orlando, Atlanta, Brooklyn, Toronto. All right. So Charlotte, Orlando, Atlanta, Brooklyn, and Toronto. And then that gets you into the month of April.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come home and you play New Orleans. You play the Clippers at Golden State, home Golden State at Portland. So all right, let me ask you a bold prediction. 5-game road trip, Charlotte, Orlando, Atlanta, Brooklyn, Toronto. Do the Kings win a game on this trip? And if so, if I put the over-under at 1.5, are you going under or over in wins?
I'm going under.
Me too.
Your best two shots at winning are Charlotte and Brooklyn. As crazy as that sounds, I know Orlando's not been playing great. Atlanta, the matchup is just awful. The only problem with Brooklyn is it's the second night of a back-to-back. I guess, you know what? I left out Toronto there. I take that back. Toronto and Brooklyn. The back end of the two games are...
Why do you think Toronto?
I think that they're not a terrible matchup for the Kings. It depends on who plays. I know Brandon Ingram's there, so don't bring that up. But I think that could be a decent game. The Kings actually have not played terrible on getaway days on the road. We've seen a win or two on those. How about you? Where are you going on this one?
One. I think they're going to win one game. I think they'll lose the rest. By the way, that getaway day on Toronto's the worst. That's the worst place to be when you have to fly all the way from there to Sacramento. We did that on Super Bowl Sunday once before they had Wi-Fi in the plane. Boy, did that suck. That was the Raiders-Buccaneers Super Bowl, and we were in the air for the whole game. God, that was terrible. The pilot had to update us on the score of the game throughout the flight.
Ooh.
That was brutal. But by the time you get through customs, you have to go through the airport like a regular customer. It takes forever. Yeah, that's not fun. Going from Toronto to Sacramento. That's terrible.
What's not terrible is Grant's Rant coming up next. I hope it's not terrible. I don't know what Ryan's going to have in store for me, but I'm hoping I can deliver for you. That's next, and the final hour of the show right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gabrudes. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gabrude and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans, to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gabrude's does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gabrude's, expert, 5-star service, and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gabrudes.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrudes.com.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. In today's version of college basketball, the best coaches can all do one thing: adapt. With the transfer portal, NIL, shifting styles of play, you are constantly adjusting. And odds are, if you don't, you're falling behind. The first two rounds of March Madness have been a perfect example of that. John Calipari and Rick Pitino, both back in the Sweet 16. Calipari has built winners everywhere, turning UMass into a force, took Memphis to a national championship game, won it all at Kentucky, and now has Arkansas in the Sweet 16. Pitino's resume just as impressive, took Providence to a Final Four, titles with Kentucky and Louisville, and success at Iona and now at St. John's. Different programs, different decades, same outcome because neither coach stayed the same. They adjusted to their players and to the game and to their new environment. Not having a system, but knowing when to adapt and change it. That's what coaching is now. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. These days, everybody's searching for ways to save on insurance, scrolling comparison sites, digging through tips, chasing deals, but Liberty Mutual makes it simple. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance to save you money. And when you bundle, those savings really come through. It's insurance built for real people with a team that goes above and beyond to help you keep more of what matters. No hunting, no hassle, just confidence that your coverage customized with savings in mind. Start your quote at libertymutual.com. 2 words: prostate exam. Relax. Screening starts with a simple finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. Prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate when caught at a localized or regional stage. If you're 40 or over and have a prostate, visit relaxitsabloodtest.com to see if a PSA blood test is right for you. Talk to your doctor about screening and the next steps. Sponsored by Novartis.
Grant's back. Join the conversation every weekday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant's Rant.
Good note. What do we have?
I've got a buffet for you today, buddy. Here is your first option. Social media. Some people have it, some people don't. But I'm not sure if you've seen these couples that have combined social media accounts, Grant, where it's boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife.
Come on.
Yeah, I know. Come on. You got to have your own socials. You either got to have your own or you're not on social whatsoever. Second option. It was so refreshing last night watching a basketball game, a college basketball game, UConn and UCLA, that saw Mick Cronin and Dan Hurley wearing suits and working the sidelines. Bring back the suits. Third option, Kings fans who will not stop with the John Calipari news. Yes, Cal was courtside for the game yesterday. No, he is not coming to Sacramento. And last but not least, Grant, not every player in the NCAA tournament that is going to be in the NBA has to have a direct player comp to him.
Why would anyone want John Calipari to be the head coach of the Sacramento Kings? Have you looked at John Calipari's record in the NCAA tournament with Kentucky, with teams that were projected to be in the Final Four every year? Have you looked at his record? I mean, if you want to talk about big game coaching, Calipari has not been the man. Now, I understand he's done a great job of recruiting. I understand he's the big man on campus at Arkansas. I understand he was the big man on campus at Kentucky because of recruiting. You go back prior to that. I get all of that, okay? Give me Rick Pitino, all right? I'll take him at a heartbeat over John Calipari. There are many other coaches I would take over Cal. And not only that, he's not an NBA coach. He's a college coach. And the fact that he shows up at Sacramento from time to time, he goes to NBA games whenever he can. All right. He believes in supporting the players that he coached in college, and he loves the game, and he likes to be connected. So don't make any connection to Cal being at a NBA game and think, oh, gee, that's going to be the next head coach of that team. Doesn't have anything to do with it. All right. He's always been like that. He's always been like that. But you want Calipari to be the head coach of your NBA team? What are you thinking about? Why? And you know what? Here, I'm going to wrap this up this way. If the Sacramento Kings have a coaching vacancy, the next person that comes in better be somebody with a lot of NBA experience that's been through really bad situations, has been through a rebuild, has been through a mess, that knows how to handle it all. Okay, those are some of the requirements that the next NBA head coach of the Sacramento Kings, because there will be a next head coach, whether it's this year or next year or 3 years from now or whatever the case may be. All right? Because I don't see this situation in Sacramento getting better anytime soon with Doug Christie or without Doug Christie. But the next coach, whomever that may be, better have those characteristics. John Calipari is not that guy. I don't understand, just like Rhino, I don't understand the deal with that. Now, as far as what he talked about with UConn and UCLA, I'm with you 100%. Can we please get back to wardrobes that have jackets and ties, suits? Can we please get back to that? I'm with you 100%. Good job. We need more of that. And maybe I'm old-fashioned, but give me that. All right? I like it. It's a good look. Let's get back to that. And those are my rants for today. Rhino, I'm so happy you talked about John Calipari. What is the deal with that? Why is it that he shows up at an NBA arena and oh, gee, maybe the Kings are, maybe that team's up. Stop it already with that nonsense.
It was so great. One of the first questions to Malik Monk was, how was your performance? Was it influenced? Was it inspired because Calipari was sitting courtside? He said no. And then they're like nothing. He goes 0%.
Malik's great. I love Malik.
Awesome. Yeah, it's because the Kings have had so many Kentucky players, obviously, right?
By the way, I loved how Malik answered the question about working with Max Reynaud.
Yes.
Right?
It was great. That was really good indeed. I'm not so sure. I've been thinking about this for the last few weeks. I'm getting closer to 50-50 that Doug will be back next year.
Boy, I'm not.
You know, I look at the injuries. I look at the amount of different rotations. I look at how any other tenured or non-tenured coach would have handled this season. I'll be transparent. I've said it since the start of the season. I think Doug's biggest mistake was trying to play a style that was not feasible with this group. I think one of his limitations is he wants something that you can't just mold that. It grows organically and then you bottle it up from there. But he has done pretty well, and the staff has done well with the young players, the development. Look at what Precious has done. You're obviously going to have another young player coming in next year, hopefully a top pick.
I disagree with you in this sense. You're forgetting the most important aspect of this, or one of the most important aspects of this. The general manager did not hire the coach, and the general manager has his own vision. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, I'm not concerned about how a coach is coaching the younger players, because the younger players are going to do whatever they have to do for any coach that is there. I'm concerned about how a head coach handles the veterans and how they play for them much more than I'm concerned about the younger players, because the vast majority of young players, there are exceptions, are going to stay right in line. All right. The vast majority of young players are going to handle whatever the coach is throwing their way in terms of being a good soldier. I'm more concerned about how does the coach handle the veterans who have their $50 million contracts, their $40 million contracts, who are all signed, sealed, and delivered. That's, to me, a bigger issue. And when I see players like Domantas Sabonis, all right, basically check out, and there are other examples, that to me is a major red flag. All right? Now, have they done a nice job developing Max Reynaud this year? Yes. Have they done a nice job with Cardwell? Yes. But the negatives of this year far, far outweigh the positives. And I go back to the real number one point on my board. Doug Christie is not Scott Perry's coach. Don't ever forget that.
But it's not far-fetched. I'm going to play devil's advocate. It's not far-fetched that they get to know each other. They can get on the same page, even though he wasn't the choice.
Much more unlikely than likely.
Okay.
Possible? Yes, of course it's possible.
So
much more unlikely.
Here's what I'm looking at. This group of vets is about to turn over. And maybe Doug knows that, knew that, could see that writing on the wall. Now, we can argue all day about the time that Monk spent on the bench. We can argue about Russ playing 35, 40 minutes and the amount of threes not being reined in, etc. But DeRozan, partial guarantee next year. Zach LaVine, his destiny's in his own hands because he has the player option. I think we both agree Domantas Sabonis is not in a Kings uniform to start the season next year. And then Russell Westbrook, probably not back, should not be back. If you
got to be a really bad organization to take a player like Domantas Sabonis and make him want to leave. That right there, to me, is a huge problem. That right there signals everything that's wrong with the Sacramento Kings.
How much of that is on Doug and how much of that is on Vivek Ranadive?
How's it on Vivek Ranadive with Domantas Sabonis?
Well, let's start with the De'Aaron Fox trade. That's Vivek Ranadive. That was Vivek. You know that too. So
Who works better with Sabonis, Monk or Fox?
Monk works better.
Okay. Why was, when Sabonis playing, Monk benched?
I can't answer that. Here would be the answer. You knew Keon Ellis was not staying, and you were featuring him because what you were asking for him was probably a little bit higher than market value in a standalone first-round pick. So that's why Malik Monk was not playing. The obvious counter is, well, take some minutes from Shooter, take some minutes from Westbrook. But
I think the biggest issue is, you can call it perception. I think it's reality. The word throughout the NBA from players that are no longer here, like Fox, like Keon Ellis, like Dennis Schroeder, who publicly called out Doug Christie a couple days ago, It will soon be Domantas Sabonis. The word spreads out. You do not want to go to Sacramento, all right? And I don't see a ringing endorsement for Doug Christie from the players that were here. All right, I don't hear that. I don't see that. There is an unpredictable aspect to all of this because of the owner. But if you're going to look at Doug Christie's biggest game of his career, he was thoroughly outcoached last April by Jason Kidd. We talked about it at length on the postgame show
Correct.
with Jerry Reynolds, you and our listeners.
Correct.
And our viewers. What has been the biggest criticism of Doug this year has been his rotations. Now, in all fairness to Doug, he's been thrown a lot of curveballs because of the players that have been in and out of the lineup, and I don't think it's easy. However, when he did have players at his disposal, his rotations were mind-boggling, puzzling, including Keon Ellis, including Malik Monk, including who was on the floor together. You would come on repeatedly and talk about these combinations don't work. I don't understand why they're still using them. And then the next game, you would come on and say, I don't understand why these individuals are on the floor together. It doesn't work. So, like, you just can't forget that you can't just, like, erase those things from your mind. I mean, that's coaching.
Yeah, you can't erase those things, but I also think you have to acknowledge the circumstances around them. And I'm not taking back anything that I said before. Like, I stand by that. But, other than I think we can strongly say the minutes of Dennis Schroeder and Russell Westbrook were the most mismanaged this year. If we put a list together of mismanaged things, it would be, you know what? I take that back. Domantas Sabonis at the top, correct?
Yep. I was just going to say that.
And then it would be Westbrook, Schroeder. Because
don't forget about Keon Ellis.
Okay, but you can't get to Keon Ellis without Westbrook and Schroeder, is what I'm saying. Because those minutes are there.
Bottom line, in my opinion, if you want to go to a level of respectability around the league, perception, you better have a new head coach that is not a graduate assistant on the job, because that's what Doug Christie is. It's like giving the keys to the car to a graduate assistant. That's what this has been like. That's exactly. This is a job on the in professional sports. The head coach should not be a job, right? Training on the job. That's what this has been. Let's just call it the way it is. This has been nothing short of training on the job. You don't get training on the job as a professional coach in the NBA. You do that as an assistant coach, as a G League coach, as a whatever. You don't do it. You don't do it on the NBA level.
Okay, so when this season's over, in game 82, final horn plays, Doug will have had almost 100 games, close to 100 games of head coaching experience. Is that when you get the chance? Now you have gotten that on-the-job experience. This is now where the rubber meets the road. What can you do this training camp? What can you do with this group, with Max Reynaud, with Dylan Cardwell, with Malik Monk coming back?
This is Antonio Pierce all over again, except for it's not football, it's basketball.
Why do you say that?
Because Antonio Pierce was elevated to a role that he probably wasn't ready for or qualified for, and it was a complete failure. And this, to me, is similar to that.
It's not a bad analogy. It's not. I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm trying to think around this.
I want you to play devil's advocate.
360 degrees, because if you are bringing in another coach, it's a bridge. Are you going to trust the first round pick with a bridge?
I need a bridge. I need a bridge that is fortified to withstand a 9.0 magnitude earthquake. Okay. I need that. I want that. I need a guy that is going to bring respectability around the league to the Sacramento Kings organization, where I'm an agent. I'm like, yep, I'm on. No, I'm not going to stop it. You need to have a coach that knows what the hell they're doing. That's what you need. I'm sorry. I'm kind of going in a very basic way here, but that's what you need. You need to have an experienced coach that's going to take this team to the next level. You have to have a coach that is well respected around the league. I'm sorry. Doug Christie is not that guy. He's not.
Grant. Okay. So we agree that you're not going to get a Michael Malone. You're not going to get a tier 1 head coach that's going to be coming to Sacramento. Can we agree on that if that job opens up?
In all likelihood, correct.
Okay. So name me a tier 2, a tier 3 coach that all of a sudden is going to bring the Kings respect around the league with Vivek Ranadive still at the helm.
When there's a coaching vacancy, I'll give you a list of names because they are there. All right. That would be a much better situation than the Kings have now. Much better. So
I guess what I'm getting at is it doesn't matter as long as Vivek's behind the
It does matter. The head coach does matter.
But
regardless of who the owner is, the head coach matters.
Okay.
It matters from a perception, a viewpoint from around the league for those that cover the league, from agents, and from other people around the league. It does matter.
Okay, you've had numerous players come out and say it makes it on this roster. It makes a difference to them playing for somebody who has played the game. And I know that is not a general qualifier for you or me as what makes a coach and what doesn't make a coach. One isn't better than the other. But I don't see a bridge coach coming to Sacramento with this problem that we all know exists, that we can do nothing about, that's going to get as much leniency from this fan base in this city as Doug Christie will.
Well, Doug's getting killed by the fan base. I'm sorry. If you go on chat lines and the internet and our show and everything else, his critics are much more in the majority than the minority. I think if you took a poll from the majority of Kings fans, the poll would be, we need a new head coach. That's what I'm seeing online. That's what I'm seeing on my chat lines. That's what I'm seeing on my social media accounts. That's what I'm seeing when I peruse the internet.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, gee, Doug absolutely needs to come back. I'm seeing fans that think they need to go in a different direction. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and you're going to have a person. Look, any team is going to have that fan. Like when Thibodeau was coaching that team in New York to the Eastern Conference Finals, half the fan base wanted Tibbs to go. And I'm not saying those fans are wrong. I'm not saying.
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, it was all over the tabloids.
I don't know about that.
Frank
Half the
Isola,
fans wanted Tom Thibodeau gone.
There were a lot of fans that thought he was not playing enough of the bench. He was working the guys too hard, et cetera, et cetera. I had listened to it for days from Frank Isola, or for the entire run from Frank Isola on
NBA radio. I listened to that too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is I just think it's closer than we really think. Like I think it is a reality.
Maybe. You know what? It might be. And if that's the case, I'm telling you right now, in the middle of March, you're going to have, or the end of March, you're going to have the same situation next year as you have this year. Well, it's a good topic, though. I'm glad you're bringing it up. We have different viewpoints. I think we have really the same viewpoints, but we have a different opinion on how it's going to go at the end of the season. That's what I think. I think we have a lot of the same viewpoints.
Yeah.
I think that we feel that it's going to go differently at the end of the season. I think it's going to go one way. You think it's going to go another. I think we actually do share some of the same viewpoints.
Certainly. We definitely do. It's just knowing and taking into account the entire situation, the dynamics of it.
Yeah. Hey, Village Financial Group, if you're in the market to buy a home, sell a home, how about a home equity line of credit? Yeah, is 2026 going to be that year? Are you relocating? Are you thinking of downsizing? Or are you thinking of whatever, right? When it comes to real estate, who is your real estate agent? Who's the individual that's going to take you from the start line to the finish line? Well, how about Spencer Grimmenstein with Village Financial Group? Somebody I've known since 2000. His family-owned business And I'll tell you something that's great about Spence. Not only is he very experienced, but he is a very creative financing specialist, and he has access to private money. Village Financial Group, kind of like a white glove boutique shop, one-stop shop from the start line to the finish line. Call or text Spence at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. You can go online as well, bfgloans.com, and you can check out thousands of available listings for purchase. That's bfgloans.com. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. We'll continue on this topic. It's interesting. What do you think? Give me a call or send me a message at 916-779-0929. Don't forget, 7 o'clock tonight, I'm over on YouTube and X with my Open Forum Monday show. This is Fox Sports Sacramento.
Did you hate your heating bill this winter? Fix it with 10-10-20 from Sierra Pacific. 10 years parts and labor warranty, 10 years to pay, and 20% off a new Sierra Pacific comfort system. Plus, this system will get SMUD customers a $3,000 rebate. Lock in the best price of the year on the best option for heating and cooling your home. 10-10-20, only from Sierra Pacific.
Sierra Pacific Solar Heating and Air. The guys in the big red trucks.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number:
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
916-779-0929 if you want to get in on the program. Let's take some phone calls this segment, and we say hello to Jim. Jim, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for calling.
Hey, what's up, Grant? Hey, you were talking about Chris, the coaching.
Yeah.
Dude, we had the guy in Mike Brown. We had the guy. They let him go.
Correct. They had Michael Malone. They let him go, too.
They let Michael Malone go. They let these guys go. And for what? And we got nothing now. You know, I mean, I called originally to find out why Christie does the smelling salts before every game.
I don't know.
You know, it's like a thing, like he wants to be noticed doing smelling salts, like he's some tough guy or something. I don't know.
I don't know. But, it's a very odd look.
Yeah, it's very odd, you know, and they just have no cohesiveness. And you know what else too? That's my dog in the back. What else too is ever since they lost that one girl that was a coach, it seems like they just don't have any kind of cohesiveness. You know that girl that went to the Lakers?
Yeah, Lindsay.
Assistant coach.
Yeah.
It seems like they just.
They got to get a female back in there.
My wife says they need to get a female back in there.
Tell your wife hello and thank you for listening.
All right, Grant. Thanks, man.
All right, take care. Thank you. See, we were talking about your rant idea being together on social media. How about being together on a phone call, Rhino? That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I
phone
like
call's
that.
fine.
Yeah.
A tandem call is good. Except, the brothers that made one, that we had to dump them. It's the only time I've had to hit that button. But yeah, good stuff there.
Yeah, that is good. I like that. All right, let's get to Lynn. Lynn, welcome to the show. How are you?
Grant, your rant on John C. was so correct. Let me tell you what, I haven't been a Razorback fan since the Oliver Miller, Todd Gay, and Mayberry time. Back with Richardson, and I watched him get so close and couldn't win with that team. Saw him with Williamson. Enjoyed what I saw with Musselman. But when Cal showed up, I kind of just wait till they get the next coach, because I remember he was in Kentucky and he says, my job is to get players to the NBA. No, your job is to win at Kentucky. And yeah, if you get players in the NBA, you can put that as a stamp on your recruiting. That's the problem with that guy.
He won one championship at Kentucky when he had Anthony Davis. He had numerous teams that should have been to the Final Fours and did not even get close to the Final Four. I've always thought he was a very overrated coach. Great recruiter, great for college basketball, but in terms of X's and O's and game management, game decisions, I've never been a fan of his.
I agree with you, and I think you're right. I think Pitino is much better on that. And I just always find it interesting how the coaches like Pitino, all these guys stay around so long in college basketball. Kind of almost you have to pick who's the coach instead of the team, like you did, like you mentioned on the beginning of the March Madness. Have a good day.
All right, Lynn. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Grant, we actually have audio of John Calipari trying to sell a recruit.
Let's get serious. You want to buy this car? What? Yay or nay?
Yeah. It's pretty much it, huh? I mean, he is a great recruiter. I got to give him credit on that. Yeah.
You know what he's able to do? He's able to get the same, stylistically speaking, type of player that he wants at each position. So got to give him credit for that.
No, he is. Absolutely. No doubt. No doubt.
He's just, if you put a group of coaches together that outwear their welcome in 4, 5, 6 years, he's on the list. Harbaugh's on the list. Yeah. John, you can go down.
Be interesting to see if Bill Self is still the coach at Kansas. There's some talk about him stepping away.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
He's an aggressive coach.
Oh boy. Yeah.
He could probably do a couple of good Grant's rants.
I'm thinking we talked about the Hubert Davis situation in North Carolina, obviously the legacy of Dean Smith. We talked about Coach K at Duke when he stepped down. Kansas is in that mix of the great programs with a great tradition of coaches and history. I mean, to me, there's North Carolina, there's Duke, and there's Kansas. And I think those three programs, those are the elite of the elite college basketball programs in America based on their history, based on the coaches that had been there. Those are kind of like once in a lifetime type jobs.
It's where basketball started.
Yes.
It would be interesting, depending on where you are in the country, how people would rank those three from top to bottom.
Yeah, I've been blessed. I was at a Duke game in Marvin Bagley's year at Duke. And then the year after that, I was at Kansas for a game during the NBA All-Star break. So I went to Kansas for the weekend, and my bucket list was to go to a game at Indoor Cameron Stadium and go to a game at Allen Fieldhouse. Those are two things that I had on my bucket list. And when you walk into a Duke game, it's a very small, intimate building. And you honestly feel the energy walking into the building with the band already playing and the noise level before the game, the energy, the buildup, the excitement, and the Cameron crazies that are on their feet the whole game. It is quite an experience. Allen Fieldhouse is a bigger field, very noisy, very. It's an event, but different. Not different in a bad way, just different. The coziness of Cameron Indoor Stadium, I think, for me, gives it an edge over being at a Kansas game. But the game I was at in Kansas was not a great game. It was against Pittsburgh. It wasn't that competitive, which also factored into it. But I would say it was a great environment. I'm very blessed that I went to both games in those two venues. And I would love to go to a game at Dean's Dome. But I'll tell you, Ryan, being at a game at Duke and being at a game at Kansas, that was special for me. Very special.
That is awesome. You've hit two of the three. You almost have to get the third now. The Duke students, they camp out for days for tickets. It's insane.
It is unbelievable. We were in Charlotte for a game, and the Kings brass were going to scout, and they asked me if I wanted to go, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course I want to go. And it was just I was so blessed to be there. Like, it was, for me, I couldn't believe I was at a Duke game. It was great. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal to be at a Duke game. It was great. I'm blessed. I probably will never be back for a game, but to experience that was absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you something else. I remember walking out of that game, and we were all more impressed with how Wendell Carter played than Marvin Bagley that day. I remember that conversation when we were walking out of the building. Like, he was like, wow, So, but anyway, that was, if you ever have a chance to go to a game at Duke or a game at Kansas, don't pass it up. I mean, it's special. It's like if you can go to a game at Lambeau Field, which I have not done, go, right? If you have a chance to go to Wrigley Field, don't pass that up. Go. Like, go to those venues. They're special. The history of those buildings, very special. And I would say, we played games at Rupp Arena in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And I would add that building kind of in that, being in the Kentucky locker room was pretty cool experience. And seeing kind of behind the scenes of Kentucky was a very neat experience. I was there on 2 different occasions for the Kings preseason games in Lexington. That was a neat experience too, but I wasn't at a Kentucky basketball game. I was in the arena, which was, again, a very cool experience.
You can't leave out that other field because you toured it, even though you don't like talking about that city. You got a chance to go. You got to go to that one to the north as well.
You got to go to that park in Massachusetts.
Yeah. You got to go see the monster.
I was there once, but it was covered in snow, and it was right before they left for spring. I told you the story, right? I walk in to Fenway Park after lunch into the Red Sox clubhouse, and I got my Yankee hat, my Yankee sweatshirt on. And my buddy who arranged this says, I apologize for my friend here. And the guy that works, he's the clubhouse attendant, said, that's all right, don't worry. And we walk in. And again, it's the middle of February. They're getting ready to leave for spring training. And I'm like, there's a guy sitting on an upside down bucket, where they put the baseballs in.
Yeah.
And I said to my buddy, I go, that's Jim Rice. He's like, dude, there's no way that's Jim Rice. I'm like, that's freaking Jim Rice. That's Jim Rice. And as it turned out, after we moved away from Jim Rice, I said to the equipment guy, I go, what's Jim Rice doing here? And he said, oh, he's here every year at this time because he's hoping that the team invites him down to spring training. I'm like, you're kidding me. He goes, nope, he just comes in and he hangs out in the clubhouse. And I'm like, that's Jim Rice. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I was just like blown away.
So he's just hanging in the clubhouse.
He's just sitting on a bucket in the clubhouse. And then we walk out of the clubhouse into the dugout, and the stadium's covered in snow. But I did get a chance to see the Green Monster, and I wanted to go pee on the snow. I wanted to leave my mark. But my buddy said, you can't do that. I really wanted to. He's like, that's
Stop.
not going to be cool.
What's
No, I'm
wrong
serious.
with you? Come on.
No, I really did. I was like, I want to do that. But that was the only time I was there. Yeah. What do you think? That would have been improper? That's what I wanted to do. I asked my buddy, I go, hey, am I going to get in trouble? He's like, dude, what is wrong with you?
Susan Waldman would have blindsided you.
You know what? Susan would refrain from ever coming on my show again. So, Susan, I love you, and I apologize for that remark, but I would have, Susan. And Susan would have said, you know what? I understand you completely, Mr. Napier. I get it. Being a Bostonian, I understand how you would want that.
Oh, my goodness. She's the best. Got to have her back.
Yeah. When they come here in a few weeks, I'll have her on.
That'd be awesome.
I didn't want to hit her up this week. They're swamped. Getting ready for opening day. I don't want to flag her down, but I'll reach out to her. She's the best. Yeah, absolutely. She loved being in Sacramento. She was on my show. She was talking about how much she loved being in old Sacramento, that she really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think we'll be hearing her name again as we get closer to the Dandies.
Yeah, that's very true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe best story. Best story.
Said, I've heard of Boston sucks, but man, that's crazy. Grant, did you go to the Montreal Forum? No, I never made it to the Montreal Forum. I went to Maple Leaf Gardens once for a shoot around, but I couldn't make it to the game. But I did go to a shoot around at the Maple Leaf Gardens, which was pretty cool. All right, we'll come back. Final segment straight ahead. Don't forget 7 o'clock tonight, my open forum Monday over on YouTube and X. We'll wrap up this Monday edition of the Grant Napear Show next, right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. Gubrud's.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. Gubrud's. Gabrud's.com.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
All right, Kings fans, quick timeout with your guy Rhino from the Grant Napear Show. Like me, if you're already watching every Reno screen every month 3, you might as well make it more interesting with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports site in America, and it's simple. You pick 2 to 6 players and choose whether they'll go more or less on their stat line. That's it. No salary caps, no revolving lineups. Tonight, maybe it's DeMar DeRozan. Points, more. Maybe it's Dylan Cardwell. Rebounds, also more. Maybe you fade somebody on the other side, like me. Pro football, hoops, elite college action. The action never stops with Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code Rhino50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Rhino, RYNO 50 to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Final segment right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. You know, the one thing I haven't talked about, you know, we always go over schedules, right? And we as fans and in the media, we kind of overanalyze schedules sometimes. But I don't ever recall seeing a schedule that is as baffling as the schedule of the A's. So they open up the season. Let me read this to you, all right? So they open up the season in Toronto. Then they go to Atlanta. Then they come home for 3 games, okay? They come home for 3 games against Houston, and then they're back on the East Coast against the Yankees and the Mets. Like, what is that all about? Like, you're going to go and you're going to open up the season all the way in Canada against Toronto. Then you're going to go to Atlanta, and you're going to fly home for your opener against Houston for 3 games, Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday, and then fly to New York to play the Yankees and the Mets. I mean, how stupid is that? Like, Ryan, you want to talk about schedules that make no sense? At Toronto, at Atlanta, home in California, in Sacramento for 3 games against Houston, and then right back on the East Coast to play the Yankees? That's absurd.
Makes you wonder if it's the fact that the A's are sharing a stadium with the River Cats, Grant.
It's got to be. Absolutely. 100%. You're 100% correct. Amazing.
It's rough. Sounds like
it is rough.
Sounds like a college football travel schedule.
Boy, oh boy. By the way, the home games this year for the A's against the Yankees are the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the last week of May, the last weekend of May, and then the Giants come in the middle of May, that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think it's the 15th, the 16th, and 17th. But that schedule, I was like, wow, that's brutal.
Will the Giants series be the biggest attendance of the season?
Bigger than the Yankees?
Yeah.
Equal.
Okay.
They'll both be the capacity with the burn out in the outfield and standing room. They'll be the same.
It's good they're doing those on the weekends. Makes sense.
Yeah. But no, they'll be standing room only. Don't you think it would be the same?
Yeah.
I mean, every possible seat will be sold.
Oh, 100%.
Every possible, let me back that up. Every possible ticket will be sold for all 6 of those games.
Yeah. I was surprised at how many Philly fans were at G1C a couple of games ago. So you bring the Yankees the Yankees out here, they're going to have twice as many.
Yeah, well, last year that was the case, and I think the team that you were referring to that I wanted to go out into the snow in, that they draw very well. So, and then the Cubs, the Cubs opened up Sacramento last year, and the Cubs fans were everywhere.
The Cubs draw so well.
They travel. Yeah, they're Cub fans all over the world. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I had a friend whose dad worked for the AAA affiliate of the Cubs, and
Really?
she would tell me many stories about being on the road. It always sometimes felt like you were at home because
Yeah.
at the team hotels, just tons of Cubs fans still.
I'll tell you, I used to love when I worked in Toledo, covering the Toledo Mud Hens in the AAA. They were then the AAA farm system of Minnesota. And the team that I covered in Toledo actually was the team that went up and won the World Series with Minnesota. I watched Kirby Puckett play for the Toledo Mud Hens and Tim Tuffle and Greg Gagne. And those, when I was there, Darryl Strawberry was playing for the Tidewater Tides. There were some amazing players, but to go cover Kirby Puckett,
Wow.
I used to have to go out there with the camera and get a couple of innings. And I would always pray that Kirby would get a hit at his first or second at bat because I could only stay out there for a couple of innings. By the way, shooting baseball was very challenging with one camera. And it was something that was learned and taught to me to a point where I used to love doing it because it was such a challenge. Because when you think about it, you're behind the backstop. I can't remember if I was standing behind the backstop or I was in the stands. But what I would tell you is, like, number one, you got to follow the baseball, but then you got to quickly cut away from it to get the runner as soon as you can. Because when you get back to the station, you're going to edit it so you can see the hit, and then you're going to edit it so you can see the runner. So if it's a double, right, you want to follow the ball until it's picked up by the fielder, and then quickly you got to show the runner running around first to go to second. Or if it's a home run, you want to be able to see the ball leave the ballpark, and then that gives you more time to cut to the runner. But the other aspect is, let's say there's a runner on second and third, right? And there's a base hit or a double into the alley. You got to then quickly, after you zoom in on the ball, you got to quickly zoom out and get the runner from third crossing home plate. You got to then follow the runner on second who's rounding third all the way home. And if there's a play at the plate, you got to be on that. Like, it was very challenging to shoot baseball with my camera with just for the highlights on the sports at night. That was not easy.
That's for you. Anybody that thinks cameramen just turn the camera on and off.
No.
That's crazy. And you got to be careful with that pan too. You don't want it to be a neck breaker.
I have so much respect for those that I work with that are cameramen, camera women. They do a great job. Matter of fact, the late John Pavlich, who was, whenever he was working, he was on the number one crew for CBS with Nance and Sims. So he was on the field. He was their number one guy on the field. So he would be doing an NFL game every week, and then during the week he'd be doing our games. And whenever I saw Pav, I never worried about anything. Never worried about anything. I was so calm and relaxed. I didn't worry about what was going on around me. I didn't worry if there was a technical problem. I didn't worry about whether the lighting was going to be all right. I didn't worry about anything. I just knew that I was in great hands, and I'm telling you, it was such a comforting thing every time I saw him. And he was a great guy. And he did the NCAA tournament. He did the Olympics. He was always working the Olympics. And I used to love talking to him about his work and what it was like because when he was doing the games for CBS, he was in Foxborough all the time in January because the Patriots were in the Super Bowl every year and in the divisional playoff game and then the championship game. And I always talked to him, about working in the cold. And he said, "Hey man, that's the challenging part. You can't feel your fingers." He's got the gloves with the cut where his fingers are cut out because he needs to be able to have the control of his, of the camera. But he was great. He was the best. He was so good at what he did. So great.
I sure hope AI doesn't take jobs like that away.
Oh my gosh.
From people like that.
I don't know how they could on that one. I really don't. I mean, he'd get run over all the times in the corner of the end zone. He would never move. If a player was coming right at him, he got that shot. And if he got run over, he got hit. He was there. He was great. He was great. He was I never worried whenever I saw a Pav. There were a couple of folks that I used to work with that when I saw that were on the crew, I never ever worried about it. You know?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, but I understand from the way that you talk about them. In fact, your friend from 31, talked to him just the other day.
Yeah. Which gentleman from 31?
Oh, his first name's escaping me. The only one that you've talked to me about.
Dave?
Dave. Yes.
Yeah.
Dave.
He's another great cameraman.
Yeah. Awesome guy. Had a good chat with him.
Yeah, he's the best. He's a big fan of the show too. Absolutely.
What's up,
So
Dave?
I'm efforting to get Dusty Baker on this week. So excuse me, I was just responding to a text message from him. I'm going to try to get him on this week.
Oh, no
and
big
then-
deal. Just a text message from Dusty Baker.
And then I'm going to stop it. And then I'm going to have Sean Salisbury on tomorrow. But with baseball starting Wednesday, I would love to get Dusty on.
That'd be
So
awesome.
he just told me he's going to San Francisco tomorrow until Friday night, and then he goes to Houston Monday to Wednesday. Dusty was in the World Baseball Classic. He was the manager of the Nicaraguan baseball team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He also played in the North-South game that we heard about last week.
How about that? Yes.
The
Let me tell him
doubleheader.
real quickly while you talk. I'm going to tell him my show is 3 to 6. He should know that. I want to ask him about if he's been. I know I saw him at a Kings game a few weeks ago.
It was a few weeks ago, yeah. He was at a game. Dusty's such a legend. And
His father went to every single game. I used to talk to his dad every game.
Oh, yeah.
His dad was at every single game.
How about
He was
that?
season ticket holder. His dad loved the Kings, and he was at every single game. His dad was a diehard Sacramento Kings fan. Diehard. Loved it.
So
Loved
many
it.
of those still out there.
His father, I loved talking to Dusty's father. Loved him. And then, when Dusty would be in town and go to the games, it was so great to have him there. Dusty's Dusty's the best. I mean, I've never met anyone that doesn't love Dusty Baker. Seriously.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that everyone talks and reveres Dusty. What a career he's had, huh?
Pretty incredible.
Great. I love giving him a hard time too about the World Series in 77 and 78. Love that. Yanks, by the way, beat his team back-to-back years in 6 games.
You're even giving the manager a hard time.
Listen,
my
Dusty was a
goodness.
great player for the Dodgers, number 12, and they thought they were going to beat the Yankees up 2-0, and they go back to New York for games 3, 4, and 5. Nettles turned the game around with his glove. Ed Figueroa with a key outing. Yanks win all 3. They go back to L.A. They close out the Dodgers. They celebrate on the Dodgers infield. It's a great thrill for me, the Yankees and the Dodgers.
I am
Yes.
convinced you could talk for days straight about memories growing up and every game that you remember, the particulars of who scored a touchdown and so and so.
I still got the lineup. Rivers, Randolph, Munson, Jackson, Chambliss, Nettles, Pinella, White, Dent, Guidry, 25 up, 3 down, ERA of 1.74. That's the 78 lineup. Mick the Quick Rivers leading it up.
You're one of a
Rivers,
kind.
Randolph, Munson, Jackson, Chambliss, Nettles, Pinella, White, Dent at short, Guidry on the hill. That was this team. That was it right there. That's the lineup.
We could name, just like we did numbers for the Giants, we could name out years and you would probably be able to give us lineups
Pretty much.
and
Pretty
stats.
much. Pretty much.
cool.
Stats, not as much. I'm not a stats guy as much. Stats to me are so overused in sports now. I mean, they're just, and I understand the analytics and I understand fantasy sports. I get all of that, but I get a little nauseated with the stats.
Analytics.
But I have some stats.
Analytics are just stats. That's all it is.
I know.
I'm not getting on you for that. It's just funny.
No, you're right.
It's like, oh, analytics are this new thing. No, it's just advanced stats.
No, you're right. I understand. I'm with you. All right. Hey, don't forget, an hour from now, I will be over on YouTube and X. So I hope you can join me for my Open Forum Monday. My thanks to FBC and Tangelo for joining me earlier in the show. Don't forget, if you missed hour number 1, it's coming up next. We'll replay it momentarily. For Rhino in Sacktown, I'm Grant Napear saying so long, and thanks for listening to the Grant Napear Show right here on Fox Sports Sacramento. Bye-bye now.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming.